G'day mates, welcome to my new project, the Arma Off podcast, where we take off our armour and sit down with veterans from real-world militaries that now play games like Arma Reforger, an FPS milsim video game or war simulator. We ask them what it's like to serve and what they get out of playing games like Arma Reforger. Nothing is off the table, and some of these conversations can be quite confronting and raw, so viewer discretion is advised. Today we got our next guest, Fed from RCT5, joining us to spin some yarns about his time in the Marine Corps. This guy's got some serious knowledge about belt-fed weapons. He was with the weapons company CAAT Black Heavy Guns Platoon, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines. Served as an 0331 machine gunner and made it to Corporal with 3 deployments under his belt. He's been through some tough stuff, and I'm stoked to have him here to share some of his stories. With almost 4.5 years of service, he's got a wealth of knowledge and an insight to share. That gun line makes the hairs on my back go up.
Dude, 240's rocking will get you every time.
And that's why I had to let that play out. It's just like a good song. You can't just stop the sound of 240s.
Yeah.
You gotta let it roll. So we'll start off how I did with Titan and how I'll do with everyone. We're gonna start off with where you started as a kid, like we wanna start off with like high school, primary school, wherever you want to kick it off from. But we just want to get an understanding of what made Fed join the military, essentially. So, what was junior school like, and growing up?
So, really, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. Like, I grew up in a super small town. Graduated high school with like 14 people, 7 boys, 7 girls. And growing up, I always hung out with older kids. So, I was in, 5th grade hanging out with 8th graders. 8th grade hanging out with 11th graders, and then when I was a senior, I was hanging out with like 30-year-olds. So, because my mom had me late in life, so I guess, it was like a weird connection to the older crowd. And I grew up around all my cousins who were already, I was in 5th grade when they were graduating, so I hung out with them all the time. So hung out with their friends, and all we did was party, man. Growing up through high school, I got my partying out early. Every weekend, something was going on. Somebody was throwing a party, and didn't really apply myself too much in school. Came down to almost not being able to graduate due to, flunking grades and all that kind of stuff. But had a principal who took a liking to me and really pushed me and got me over the freaking edge and got me graduate. And there wasn't a whole lot that happened, like earlier years. It was mainly just partying and growing up.
How did that principal sort of push you to get better grades? What did he do to make you realize that grades are good, sort of thing?
My mom knew him whenever I was growing up, so I knew him my whole life, and he was a part of the same hunting club that my family was, and he kind of pulled me in his office and was like, "Hey, you're not going to graduate if you don't actually start applying yourself and pass this test and so on and so forth. Like, I understand what you want to do whenever you get out of high school and so on and so forth. So, like, here's what we're going to do. Like, I'm going to cancel." He pulled me from the baseball team. I was captain of the baseball team at the time. Pulled me from the baseball team and, like, wouldn't let me go to practices, wouldn't let me go to games, pulled me from the entire team. And every day after school, like, kept me there at school in the library studying, helping me study, like, giving me tests, and so on and so forth, until I was basically, I could have done that stuff in my sleep, you know what I mean?
So his influence, did that feel like a family friend or a family member telling you need to get your shit together? Or because from my experience of high school and that, when the teachers you just kind of, a lot of time you blow them off, but because of that relationship you had with him, is that why you listened to him, you think?
Yeah, It's probably a little bit of that, and a little bit. I had a lot of respect for him anyway. He was a Korea vet, Marine, and he had that stature about him, super like stoic whenever he stood in the hallways, and super authoritative with his voice, and would like he would joke around with you and stuff like that. But whenever it was time to get business, like you knew by the look on his face and the way he talked to you, like he meant business. And told me like, hey man, you need to crack down on this. I'm gonna help you. And I saw the time that he was taking out of his day to spend it with me, making sure that I passed. So out of respect for him, it was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna listen to you. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's interesting, because it's coming from someone that never had influence like that from school. You know, like someone that actually like that you could relate to, someone that spoke to you like a human, like it seems like your principal did.
Yeah.
You know?
My mom also had me, like I said, super late in life. She had me at 42. So, and I grew up without a dad. My dad left whenever I was 2, and I didn't see him again until the day I turned 19. There's a lot of family issues going on between her and him. I never really knew a whole lot about him until recently. But grew up without a dad, so the only father figures that I really had was my uncle and then him. And my uncle was a Desert Storm vet for the Army, and he kind of taught me what it meant to be a man and established that work ethic early on in life. I mean, I was 9 years old, tilling the fields at 5:30 in the morning, and I would tell him like, "Hey, Pop, I don't know how we're gonna till the field. It's dark outside." And he said, "Well, God put headlights on that motherfucker, so we can get out there and till the field at 5 o'clock in the morning."
That's funny. So that work ethic was all your, because you said you had a lot of older friends. Were they working and stuff just like what you were, or?
Oh yeah, all of them. Well, I'm not gonna say all of them, but most of them were, oil rig guys and stuff. So they would be back and forth to Texas every other week or every 2 weeks, or they worked offshore. That was the majority of the dudes that I was hanging around. But I'll tell you, the one that kind of became my best friend for a lot of it, his name was Jamie. I met him. He was my cousin's best friend that I hung out with all the time, and they had a band together. And so I'd go out to their house and sit and listen to Pantera, Metallica, and old Megadeth, stuff like that. And while they played, we'd all just sit there talking, shooting the shit, whatever. But Jamie, he ended up going into the Marine Corps and did 2 tours in Iraq, and then came back, and that's a whole story we can get into later. He's a big influence of why I joined anyway.
Okay. All right. So that was primary school, high school, pretty much.
Yep.
And so while this is happening, Dad's fuck knows where, and what's Mum doing?
So Mom was kind of sort of in and out of a job. So like she worked for the baby food company Gerber for, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years, something like that. And then she ended up going, while she was doing that, she was bartending at night because she was a single mom. So I stayed with my grandmother most of the time. So my grandmother helped raise me on a big part of it. And, whenever my mom would get home, she would go to sleep and rinse, repeat. The only time she really had off was weekends. And every other weekend, she was still having to bartend. So after the whole Gerber thing, she ended up quitting that whenever I turned, I want to say I was 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. But she ended up quitting that and coming into like the home health business. It's a company called Med-South, and she was a home health manager for my hometown location for another 12 years probably. And then she ended up retiring after I graduated.
So Mum's been busy working anyway, so there's work ethic, strong work ethic throughout your whole family sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, and my town, I think there was like 4,000 people in my hometown. The biggest thing that we had was a sausage company, that now is big enough. They ship all across the United States. It's called Kaneka sausage, and that was the biggest thing. That's what put our town on the map. You know what I mean? And with 4,000 people there, you either worked for the sausage company or you were tending the fields or running a deer processor or, hard labor stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, when you did you leave school with like really, really good grades or like passable
God,
average
no.
grades? Yeah, okay.
Fuck no, man. I barely passed the fucking class I needed.
Yeah.
I think I graduated with like a, oh God, what was it? It was like a 61 in math and like a 64 in science. Like all the main stuff that you so-called need, it was bare minimum. But history, I was at a 98 my entire high school career. Like I've always been infatuated with history and the stuff that they don't teach you in schools and stuff like that. So
the more interesting shit, really.
Yeah.
So what did you planning on doing when you left? Did you have a plan for when you're leaving school, or?
So originally, whenever I was going to leave school, this was my plan. I'll say my 7th grade year, right? Was to go offshore and work oil fields and pipelines and stuff like that. That was my original plan. But I'll get into the story about Jamie. So Jamie came back from his second tour in Iraq, and he was super distant on a lot of the things that, like we didn't get to talk to him a whole lot while he was over there. He was just south of Azerbaijan, I believe. I can't remember if that was first or second deployment. Anyway, he was super quiet, super distant on a lot of things, and whenever he got back, he was only home for, I think, like 3 weeks or maybe a month for post-deployment leave. And it was getting close. I still hadn't heard from him. Every time I go by his house, he wasn't there. And he ended up calling me 2 or 3 days before he was supposed to get back. And he was like, hey, man, like, sorry I've been distant. I'd love to go and have lunch with you. So I was like, yeah, dude, let's meet here, at this time. So I show up, and I'm waiting on him, and about an hour and a half has passed of when he said he was going to be there. And Jamie's always been the type, 15 minutes earlier, you're late. And ended up getting a phone call from his mom, and she's in freaking tears, man. And he ended up dying in a car accident on the way there, and to the restaurant. And so ever since that, something freaking clicked in my head, like, I'm not going to waste my time doing this freaking offshore bullshit. Like, I'm going to go in the Marine Corps. So it was kind of a sudden thought about 7th or 8th grade year that this is what I'm going to do. And it stayed that ever since. I started talking to a Marine Corps recruiter my 10th grade year.
Did you think you would do it? Did you have the realization, or was there any inkling that you were doing it to honor Jamie?
A little bit. So, kind of playing into that as well. My mom tells this story every time the Marine Corps gets brought up. Ever since I was like 3 years old, every dude in a uniform, it didn't matter if it was Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, whatever, I would always like run up and shake their hand and like thank them for their service. And having a 4-year-old do that, you don't see that a whole lot. They kind of look at you like you got a dick growing out of your forehead.
Like acknowledging that thing. Yeah.
So,
you were aware of it early.
I always knew there's something bigger than me that has to do with that uniform. You know what I mean? And it just never clicked until Jamie ended up passing away, and then knowing what all it entailed from his side. So that's whenever I made that complete and utter decision that, hey, I'm going to join the Marine Corps when I graduate.
That's like, I'm starting to see this pattern in why a lot of guys that it seems to be the ones that join the forces and have a good career or half decent career, or are actually passionate about joining the military or whatever they're whatever
Right.
faction they're going into, they seem to have like either an epiphany that leads them to joining them. Like Titan had a similar, well, no one died, but he said he was. I don't know if you watched his podcast, but he said he was
Yeah.
off his head on drugs and that, and then seen himself in the third person, somewhat hallucinating, like sort of thing, and had this epiphany that he wanted to go join the military. You know what I mean? And I've heard
Yeah.
similar things from other guys too. Like this thing happened, and I just was like, "Fuck it, I need to do this," and they went and signed up. Like,
Yeah.
it seems to be the ones that have a decent career and are knowledgeable and are passionate about what they're learning whilst they're in. The ones that join for nefarious reasons and end up just being shit in the military and leaving early or whatever, like they kind of just like, oh, I just thought I'd try it sort of thing, or it's like, I don't know, I'm seeing this pattern. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah, and I mean that's what a lot of dudes. So especially with the guys, that I served with, you'd see a common trend of like either childhood trauma or epiphany stuff. Of just like, yeah, dude, one minute I'm, got all this trauma and I'm trauma dumping on a therapist, and then next minute I'm parasailing in South Carolina.
well, like once Jamie passed, funeral happens, how quickly were you like, I'm joining? Was it like?
Oh, it was before the funeral.
Oh, really? So it was like a
Oh,
day
yeah.
after sort of thing, like really quickly. Yeah.
Because that was back, dude, he died in, it's 26 now. I joined in 2017. That was back in 2011.
Yep.
2010 that he died.
Yeah. And you signed up that month, essentially.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I started talking to a recruiter my 10th grade, 9th or 10th grade year of high school, and had the same recruiter, or actually, no, I didn't have the same recruiter. I got into the DEP program, which is a delayed entry program, when I was in 10th grade, and that's whenever I had the same recruiter.
Yeah.
Until I graduated.
And so did you start signing and looking into, like, did you know what you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, 100% infantry.
Like you were weapons and you wanted weapons and big guns and shit straight away, or just infantry in general?
So a lot of the other jobs, like, I knew about them. Like, I knew the military has, thousands of jobs within it and stuff like that support the main effort and, all this mumbo jumbo bullshit. But you never hear the stories about dudes, oh yeah, I was a fucking, a cook. Okay. So you wasted 4 years of your life? Like, that's not me. You know what I mean? You never hear these stories about these guys that, climbed the ladder of the ranks and, did all these awesome things and won medals of honor and everything else that were fucking cooks and, poster boys and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it was infantry from the get-go.
Yeah. You wanted to go and fucking shoot guns and blow shit up and fuck shit up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So what was the turnaround for once you decided it was all go? And what did your mum say? And
my mom was all for it.
And what about the principal? Because you obviously still know him because he's family friend as well. He was like good? So was everyone like for it? Like,
oh yeah, everybody was completely for it. My mom wasn't like the most excited about it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, she was born in '56, so she lived through the Vietnam War.
Yeah, she's seen some bad ones. Yeah.
The Cold War and stuff like that. A lot of my family was in Vietnam, so she kind of saw the other side of it, not just the like, hey, there's this great organization. She saw the development of actual combat and everything, and the toll that it takes on people. And so she wasn't like 100%. Oh my God, I am so happy for you type stuff. But she was like, I understand why you're doing it, and I respect it. Like, I can't tell you what to do with your life. The only thing I can tell you is make smart decisions and don't be a fucking retard.
She's been a mum. She's been a mum.
Yeah.
Worried about her son. She loved you. She worried about it. It's like, fuck, he's signing up to do this thing that could potentially get him fucking killed. So she's just being a mum, which is fair.
Exactly. Yeah. And the principal, he was, like I said, he was a Marine too, from Korea. So he was absolutely for it.
Yeah.
His 87-year-old ass, he pushed aside his walker and stuff like that and got up and went and shook my hand. So I had complete support on all of it.
Yeah. And I guess coming from the town that you came, a lot of people signing up with, or?
I wouldn't say a lot of people. I mean, there was probably a decent handful that was signing up. I was the first from my high school, besides Jamie, that went to the Marine Corps. The rest of them were all Army or National Guard or that dumb shit.
Okay. Let me just pause for a sec. I need to change the sun because it's right in your head and glaring hard. So I'm going to put it at 12 o'clock and then pause the time. Oh, that's better. That's way better lighting. So, what was your turnaround time for signing up and going to boot camp?
So, alright, so I signed my papers for the Marine Corps and got into the depth. Technically, Titan would better be able to explain this because I wasn't a recruiter.
He did, yeah, he did on his podcast. So you give us the short version, you know.
So whenever you sign into the depth, I'm pretty sure like you're basically in the Marine Corps. Like you already get it. Once you sign the depth, you go to MEPS and everything else. You get your ship date. So that was all like the summer of my junior year, going into senior year. Did all that, got my ship date, and I graduated on a Friday in May. I don't remember what fucking day, but graduated on a Friday in May, and then I left the next Friday. So I didn't get a summer or anything else. I got 1 week to get my shit together, and I left.
And where was your camp? Where'd you go boot camp?
Parris Island, South Carolina.
Parris Island, South Carolina. So I don't know anything about that. Never heard of
so
that. So tell me something.
There's two Marine Corps recruit depots in the United States. That's the only place that make Marines. And it's Parris Island, South Carolina, which is on Beaufort Beaufort Air Station, Marine Corps Air Station, Beaufort. And then the other one is on Camp Pendleton in California, just outside of San Diego. It's Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Call them Hollywood Marines because they're, I don't know, like an hour and a half from Hollywood, LA.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But, yeah, Parris Island, dude, it fucking sucks. Stone Age fucking barracks.
Everything's super old and shit. They don't upgrade nothing.
Super fucking old. First time I've ever seen, like, not pipes not run underneath the ground.
They're all just on the inside of the building, just along the wall and shit, yeah.
Well, no, it's like going down the fucking street.
Oh, like, they're just on
these fucking.
They don't even bury them.
They're all like on these fucking rafters.
Oh well, that's the military easy serviceability, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck is this place? And so before you show up,
is it still like that? Or they changed it?
Oh yeah.
Really, they haven't changed it?
No, it's still like that.
Wow, that's amazing.
I think the only renovations they've done to that fucking place in the past decade was like they put a new door on.
All right, so you rock up.
Yeah, so I show up the end of July 2017, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, I've had a few bumps on the head since then, so I might be squirrely with my dates.
Dates, it's not really going to matter anyway. Really, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. So I show up, and, they do the shark attack thing where drill instructor hops on the bus and gives you his whole fucking spiel of welcome to Parris Island, South Carolina. You get off the bus and you go stand on the yellow footprints, and as soon as I did that, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I have fucked up.
Oh, you regret it straight away? Like,
I mean, kinda, because, dude, I've never had, most of the people you talk to, they've never had somebody just
talk to you like
who
that.
Doesn't know you from Adam.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking screaming at you.
Yeah.
And calling you a dumb fucking retard and like all these other slurs, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what have I gotten myself into? So, you go through the silver hatches for the first and only time, and at that point, you might as well say fuck it, because you're not going to turn around and be a bitch.
By silver hatches, what do you mean by that?
So they're silver doors.
Okay,
That's the first doors that you walk through. On I believe it's both recruit depots.
Okay, yeah.
And right after the yellow footprints, and you only walk through them one time.
Oh,
And
okay,
like
yeah.
even after, if you go back to visit, like I'm pretty sure you
go through
can't
a
walk
different
back
way.
through those.
Yeah, you go through a different way. Yeah, okay.
So you walk through those, and then there's like a bunch of desks and stuff like that, and you sit down and start filling out paperwork. And this is like at this point now you're gonna be up for like 12 to 14 hours. Excuse me, no, we were up for I think it was like 2 days we were up.
Wow. Before they
from
settled
like
you in.
admin stuff, the entry paperwork, the amnesty period of like did you bring contraband, and gear issue,
before
and
they
all
even
this.
give you your cut sort of thing, you got to do all this shit, and then there's your bed over there.
Yeah, dude, it was like the next day before we even got a fucking meal.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
And even then, you got like 35 seconds to eat all of it, so you're just shoving it in your face.
So they're just trying to break you down from the start. As soon as you walk on those yellow footprints, they're breaking you down. Yeah.
And they do a damn good fucking job of it, man, because you feel like the biggest piece of shit. Like, for like the first week, you feel like nothing.
So.
And,
How long does that turn around until you start not feeling like this is fucked? Until you're like, okay, it's not so bad now. We got through that bullshit. You know what I mean?
So Marine Corps boot camp is 13 weeks, right? So it's broke down. I believe it's 4 phases now. Came in when there were still 3 phases. So the first phase is like breaking you down, the admin stuff of like entrance into the government and the military. Getting bank accounts set up, and just like breaking your character down to what they want you to be. And whenever first phase ends, you're like, wow, that fucking sucked. And then second phase is all about knowledge. So like, this is how you do patrolling. This is like super basic shit of just make you not look like a bag of turd.
Yep.
And once you get through second phase, you're like, oh, okay, like, I've learned a lot of shit. Like, I'm in really good shape right now. And
you sort of start
third
seeing
phase,
how everything's working as well.
Yeah, you start to see the mold.
Yeah.
And then third phase comes along, and you're getting ready for the crucible, and it's like, holy fuck, dude! Like, this shit's flown by. Like I've changed so much.
Yeah.
Because I lost fucking 60 pounds going in. Yeah. I came in at 215, 220, 220, and came out at like 163.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
how tall are you?
You see the mold after the first phase.
How tall are you? Just for context.
6 foot flat.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Used to be 6'1", 6'2".
Compressed from carrying machine guns.
Yeah. So, but. Yeah, after the first phase, man, you start to see it within everybody, and the whole time, don't get me wrong, the whole time you're like, dude, what the fuck, because there's always something that happens to where everybody's getting fucked up, whether it's some dude being a fucking idiot and stealing peanut butter packets from the chow hall, or it's like, bro, contain yourself, you're here for 3 fucking months. Or it's, some dude didn't lock his fucking foot locker or something. Attention to detail is everything within the Marine Corps, especially boot camp. So there's always something that's going to get you fucked up, and at that point you're like, all right, I'm used to it by now. Like, let me take this 2 minutes of a haze fest and go on about my day.
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of learn to stop giving a fuck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So... That was the biggest part of all of it, but boot camp, dude, that's the number one place that's the funniest place in the world that you're not allowed to laugh.
That's what Titan said. He said it's hilarious, dude, but you can't. Some of the dumbest shit that happens.
I'll tell you.
Tell me something. Yeah.
We had a fucking dude. What was his name? Davenport. His name was Recruit Davenport. I think he was joining to be a cook, actually. And the whole 3 months, whenever they first met him, our drill instructors came out. And whenever they first met him, they were like, what'd your mom do for a living? He was like, oh, my mom died. They're like, oh, that's fucked up. All right, what does your dad do for a living? He was like, oh, my dad, like, abandoned me and, like, only wanted meth or some shit like that. And they're like, all right, well, you were found in the woods and raised by wolves, and you're a fucking carnivore. And he was like, okay. So for the whole 3 months, they called him Wolf Boy, and every time they said Wolf Boy approach, he would have to run on all fours and howl like a wolf.
That's amazing.
So it was always like dumb shit like that. And
that's funny as.
There's a little shopette that's like on the fucking recruit depot, and that's where you get like all your recruit supplies, like soap, razors, and you know, all that, and it comes directly out of your paycheck, which they didn't tell you that, but it does. So they had what we called moonbeams, and all it was fucking 1980s fucking right-angled flashlights, right, with the filters and stuff. And so we would have to buy those and wear those when we'd have fire watch at night. So every hour there was like 2 or 3 recruits that'd be up there, you know, watching over everybody, make sure there's not like a fucking private pile situation going on. And a guy named Gunnery Sergeant Hatchworth, I believe is what his name. This dude was like a massive fucking Star Wars fan. He drove like a 2005 Nissan Maxima that had like a Darth Vader wrap on it. He was a fucking weirdo.
Oh god.
And he would show up at like 2 in the morning and ask the dudes on Firewatch if they've ever seen Star Wars, and they were like, you know, yes sir, seen Star Wars, da 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 da. And he's like, he'd like pretend like he's using the Force and get the recruit to throw his flashlight against the wall, and then he'd make, whenever it break, he'd make them go get other recruits' flashlights and throw them against the wall.
So this guy is sitting. He's sitting in there, and he's like, no one likes him, and he's sitting there, and he's like, I want to talk about me some Star Wars, and he goes out and just harasses everybody because he wants to talk about Star Wars. Nobody else does.
He wasn't even the drill instructor for our platoon. He was like 3 platoons down, so he would just come over there and start fucking with us.
Just harass, like, because he can, I guess, like.
Yeah, he was a fucking good ass dude though, man. He was weird.
I need to get a fucking drill instructor on the pod. That would be fucking hilarious.
I can hook you up with one. One of my.
It'd be good. But they kind of have to play Arma to make it work. They have to get in.
That's fair.
You know,
I'm sure one of them do it.
They might if they're keen, and they're keen to play the game. Or we borrow someone's PlayStation and shit. Get them on. It'd be pretty funny.
They have got some fucking stories.
Right, I can only imagine. Yeah. So anything crazy happened in boot?
In boot camp, so, dude, I stayed sick all the fucking time in boot camp, man. There was a couple crazy ass things that happened. So like I said, I stayed sick. I got pneumonia 3 fucking times, and one time I had double pneumonia. So I wasn't used to.
Were you doing it through winter or something? Were you?
Yeah. Okay. Like the end of it was in winter.
Yeah.
On towards the 2nd or 3rd phase was winter.
Okay.
And because I showed up like at the end of July.
Yep.
And like after we actually started training was the end of July, going into I forgot the order of the dates and the months and shit like that. Anyway, so it's beginning of winter. It got super fucking cold, and ended up getting double pneumonia. Well, we have I think it's in the 2nd or 3rd phase fucking training before the crucible. It's called the basic warrior training, so BWT, and it's like a 2 days in the field, I believe, or a night in the field or something like that. So you're teaching like night land nav stuff and a little bit of field craft and so on and so forth. Well, that's like a Marine must take this fucking course to even pass, you know, without getting held back. So I get out there, we do the hike out there, and we're getting into a classroom setting. It's probably like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And, dude, I have the worst pain in my fucking balls. It felt like somebody was grabbing my nutsack and just ripping on it. And so I told my fucking drill instructor, and he was like, I don't fucking care. Shut up. And I was like, okay. So 15 minutes later, dude, I'm in fucking tears. Like, it hurt so bad. And I've got a super high fucking pain tolerance. You know, I get like 2 tattoos at a time. like 2 inches apart type shit.
Was that what?
So
Did you have a hernia or something?
it wasn't a hernia. So they ended up like one of the drill instructors like actually kind of took me serious about it, and he called a corpsman in there. And the corpsman took me outside, and I told him what was going on. He was like, drop the fucking boot camp bullshit. Like, tell me what the fuck. Like, this is a medical thing now. I don't care if you call me sir.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what the fuck is going on. So, like, I told him, I was like, dude, it feels like somebody is, like, stabbing my nutsack. And he was like, oh, fuck. So they ended up, I don't remember if they don't have, like, a naval hospital or something on Paris Island. But they took me out in town to the hospital, like, on into Beaufort. And so I went out there and got an ultrasound on my nuts. And apparently there's supposed to be, like, clear liquid or something like that engulfs the sac. And all of that liquid was, like, murky. I had a fucking, what is it, like a tiny hole or whatever that was punctured into my fucking sperm sac. And it was like leaking sperm into my nuts, basically.
Okay, into where amniotic's fluid's supposed to be. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
So it was causing a lot of fucking
So was that
pain.
from lifting and just the working out, or you just don't know how it happened?
I have no freaking clue, man.
Yeah.
And I was just happy I had a woman touch my nuts for the first time in like 3 months.
You're like, ah.
I don't even fucking care. So they gave me a bunch of drugs and shit like that, and told me that I had to go be SIQ, so like sick in quarters for 2 or 3 days or something like that, and like rest it off and take this antibiotic and all this other shit, bullshit, whatever. But they gave me a fucking prescription that literally said that I had to beat my meat twice a day. And I had to give that to my drill instructor.
That's amazing. Oh
so
my god.
I
you
fucking,
poor motherfucker.
Dude, I got like these IVs and shit, and I'm on like a muscle relaxer to kind of, and like painkillers to like ease the pain a little bit.
Yeah.
And their drill instructor's driving me back. His name was Staff Sergeant Barker. He was our kill hat. And
sorry, well, I'm just laughing because I can only imagine the shit that they're just looking at you and you go, did you jerk off yet? Did you jerk off today? Did you jerk off today?
Oh, dude.
Fuck.
They thought that shit was the funniest fucking thing ever. So I walk out to Staff Sergeant Barker, who's in the lobby of the fucking hospital. And, his voice is like super hoarse because all he does is yell all the time. And he was like, you done, girl? And I was like, yes, sir. Here's my fucking prescription. And he looks at it and takes his fucking hat off because he's starting to fucking laugh. And he puts his fucking campaign cover over his face to like block his laugh. And like get his bearing back and everything. He puts his hat back on and he goes, this is a fucking lie. Like, you're fucking with me. And I was like, no, you can ask the doctor. And he was like, I fucking will. So he like walks back into this fucking ER. And I can see him through the like little windows or whatever. It's like the 1x3 fucking windows of like hospital doors. And he's back there fucking rolling, dude, asking this doctor, like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, this dude has to jack off. So he comes back and he's like, well, there's a first for everything, girl. Get in the truck. So we get in the fucking truck and we go back, and my heavy drill instructor, who's like not the senior, but the one right below him, he's like the 2 IC of the drill instructors for the platoon.
Yep.
He gets the fucking prescription, and he takes his hat off because he's starting to fucking laugh. He's like, what? He said, I guess there's a first time for everything. And I was like, that's what drill instructor Staff Sergeant Barker said. And he's like, fuck you. And so I got in the rack, had to beat off twice a day. It was like a schedule.
That's fine.
They would, I think, what is it? It was like once after chow in the mornings, and then like once before chow in the afternoons or something like that, or before we rack out.
They gave you a schedule. That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. They'd walk out and they'd say ears, which, that's like, hey, let me get your fucking attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we would all say, snap, sir. And we'd all look, and he'd be like, it's your fucking drill instructor score away beat off time. Get in the bathroom. So I would run by and I'd be like, I'd ask him, I said, "Sir, does this recruit get any material?" And he was like, "Fuck no. What do you want?" And I was like, "A Maxim magazine would be nice." He was like, "No." So, dude, that's like a little bit of the funny shit that happened.
That's crazy funny though. That would make a fucking hilarious cartoon. Like,
dude,
actually,
you can't make this shit up,
a
man.
boot camp cartoon would be really funny. Like that had actual like adult humor in it and all what actually happened. That would be a really funny cartoon actually.
Oh yeah, dude, it'd be hilarious.
I'm cutting that out before someone steals that idea.
But yeah, then we did the crucible, which that's the first time like ever being exposed to that kind of being up for 36 hours or however long it is straight, and then doing the 9-mile hike back, which I don't know how much you know about the crucible, but it's like
vague. I know it's basically it's 30 to 40 hours of just punishment and exercises.
You just get shit on.
Yeah.
And each fucking you hike from the barracks, and I think it's like 10 miles or something like that out to, I think it's Lewis Airfield or something that's on Parris Island. So the history of this is pretty cool. So Lewis Airfield, whenever the Marines graduated from boot camp in World War II, right? Like, they never got the chance to fucking go home. Like, once they graduated, they would all march to Lewis Airfield and get on a fucking plane and fly to the Pacific. Like, straight into World War II.
Yeah.
So, that's where the Crucible's held now, and you just basically hike up and down the fucking runways of it. Okay. And you bivouac, you get like 2 hours of sleep or something like that, and then they go into like nighttime stuff with like arty sims and all this other different shit. First time you're exposed to like night vision stuff, and the next day you run like obstacle courses. So it's like team built and like designed around teamwork obstacle courses, but each one of them is like done after a fucking Marine who's won the Medal of Honor, right? So there's one about Kyle Carpenter, there's another one about Dakota Meyer, so on and so forth. And they're kind of tailored to how they won their Medal of Honor, and before you start it, they read their Medal of Honor citation. Okay. And then it's like a, hey, respect this, you know what I mean? So after the Crucible's done and stuff, you're getting ready to hike back. On your hike back, you started at like fucking 4 in the morning, something like that, 3 in the morning. But on the hike back, there's a section of it where when you start getting close, where they have a dude over a loudspeaker, and they're telling the story about Marines, like when boot camp first started and how it's changed over the years, and like how, like basically a big ass fucking moto speech, right? Okay. But you've got dudes off to the side of where you're hiking that are dressed in the Marine Corps uniforms from 1775 all the way through, like, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan, and then present day. And then you walk under the "We Make Marine" sign on the fucking base and gather around the Iwo Jima monument of the famous picture, of all the Marines hoisting the flag on Iwo Jima. Yeah. And that's whenever you get your Eagle Globe and Anchor, and they give a big moto speech, and you're crying like a little bitch. So,
how did that feel? Like, take yourself back there now. Take a minute. Take yourself back there now. Like, when you started that whole day, that whole exercise, and what did that feel like?
Oh, dude. I mean, waking up, you're like, holy fuck, I'm exhausted. Like, I've never been up this long. But on the hike back, your legs start hurting because you've never hiked that far with that much weight. I think it was only like a 75-pound pack. But they start the whole motivating thing with all the guys dressed in the uniforms, and you're like, holy fuck, like, I'm about to become a fucking Marine. Like, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And you kind of start thinking about the big battles that you've heard of each dude that you see, from that era. Like, I started thinking about, I saw the World War II guy, and I thought about John Basilone, who was a machine gunner in Guadalcanal that won the Medal of Honor. If you've ever seen the TV show The Pacific, his Medal of Honor actions were portrayed in that pretty well. And you start thinking about that, and you're like, dude, holy shit. You know, like, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And then you get ever done and the biggest thing you will ever do. So, it's fucking extraordinary.
What's the John stuck to? What's he like? Because he's spent that time pushing you guys through that. What are they ecstatic to see you guys pass, or is it?
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of they have their favorites. You know, like everybody's got their favorites in the platoon, and my drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Paxson, he was his dad was John Paxson that played on the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls and played with Michael Jordan, and he handed me mine or whatever, and he was like, "I'm fucking proud of you," and stuff. And once he said that, I fucking bawled even harder, because seeing a dude of that stature, because this motherfucker's stoic as shit. Like, he would always stand back straight, hands on the hips, uniform looked tight, the whole 9 yards, and he had 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star with a Combat V and a couple other things. And he had done security for the president, so he had that device too on his blues. And for a dude like that to say, "Hey, I'm fucking proud of you," I've never had that father figure that I looked up to say, "Hey, dude, like, you're fucking kicking ass. I'm proud of you." So that was a big moment.
That's pretty cool. So you passed. You're a Marine now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
so
the fun begins.
Yeah. What's the next step? Where do you go from there?
So before the next step of the whole Marine Corps, right? We get 10 days of leave. But the Marine Corps School of Infantry was backed up with dudes, of the influx of dudes coming in, I guess, or something like that. So I actually got 20 days of leave, 10 days of just, bullshitting with the family, but I had to do 10 days of recruiter's assistance. So I had to go down to Pensacola, Florida, and help my recruiter and, go to these high schools and try and talk to these kids about joining. It was fucking stupid.
Okay, yeah.
But I go back the night I get back from my fucking leave. Buddy of mine was having a bonfire, so we go out there and I'm chilling in the fucking track suit that you get from boot camp, just being a fucking nerd. And this motherfucker throws a shotgun, like a box of shit, in the fire. Well, there was a shotgun shell in it. It was double-aught buckshot. And that fucking shotgun shell went off and hit me in the fucking calf.
Oh, no.
So, night I get home from boot camp, I get shot in the fucking leg with a shotgun shell.
Because of some dumbass.
Yeah, because of some fucking idiot. So, I go to the fucking hospital, I put a tourniquet on it, we go to the hospital, and they pick the buckshot and shit out of my calf. And, I, call and tell my recruiter at the time, because he's technically in charge of me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have official orders yet. And call him, tell him, and he was like, "What the fuck?" So he drives from Pensacola like an hour and a half to my hometown at the hospital and sits with me. And I ended up getting released. It was fine. It didn't go that deep or anything, so they just bandaged me up, and I took a couple days to recover from it.
Just a decent flesh wound sort of deal.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing big. And so I ended up going to help him and started that whole process, and then got cut orders to fucking Camp Geiger, which is right outside of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, to School of Infantry. And that's whenever you really start learning the ins and outs of the infantry, the basic stuff. Whatever I went through, I know it's a little bit different now. I think it's like a 6-month long process now. Can't remember of how they changed it, but it was 2 months, and first month is straight 0311 stuff. So like regular riflemen, like patrolling, fucking fighting holes, shooting your rifle, defensive stuff, so on and so forth, like basic shit, formations. And then after that first month, it's what's called the weapons split. So at this time, I was working out all the time. I was a pretty decent sized guy. I was about 205 at 6 foot tall, or 6'1", 6'2", and they were going through picking dudes for to be mortarmen, machine gunners, anti-tank missilemen. They'd just done away with assaultmen, but they were going through picking dudes for that MOS to kind of fill those classes. And I think his name was Sergeant Tilton. He was a old machine gunner. He came through and stuff, and he said, "Hey, who wants to be a machine gunner?" And I raised my fucking hand. I didn't know what the fuck it was really. I knew what a machine gun was, of like a belt-fed weapon
but you didn't know
system.
what the job was. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, machine gunner, I got that. Because fuck stroking the tube, being a mortarman. So I volunteered for that. He was like, "You got big shoulders, come on." So I was like the first one picked to be a machine gunner for that class. And that period of instruction for the next month was fucking intense. You learn everything about fucking machine guns. And it is awesome.
So how long did that section go, like that course go for with that?
The entire thing for School of Infantry is 2 months, but the weapons split, each one of them is a month.
So pretty stupid question, but how quickly did you fall in love with belt feds?
Probably the first week.
Like within a week, you're like, these things are fucking awesome.
The first day you're getting hands on with a 240, and you're like, this is the first time you've ever seen a belt fed machine gun besides on a video game, and you're like, this is fucking cool. And then you go to your first class about them, and you start. The guys up there are super motivating, and they're playing videos of machine gunners in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they kind of show this other video with. I wish I could find it, but they showed a video of Marines in Iraq and Afghanistan that were machine gunners, and they were suppressing fucking Toyota Hiluxes and stuff like that of technicals, and like shooting dudes running across the street with belt feds and all this other stuff. But they had
were they mostly in a Humvee a lot of the time?
No, like this was dudes just thrown up on a fucking berm or a waddy, with a 240.
Yep.
Like they had a couple dudes on 50s on trucks and stuff, but the song that was overlaid on it was "Counting Bodies Like Sheep to the Rhythm of a War Drum" by Perfect Circle. And that was the most badass fucking video I've ever seen in my life. And at that point forward, I was like, this is going to be the coolest shit I've ever done. So that's whenever I made the decision, like, I'm going to be the best fucking machine gunner Marine Corps has ever seen.
Yeah, and you were fucking sold into it.
Yeah, sold. So I would have sold my soul right then.
Like, at what point did you get, like, OCD about it, as everyone from fucking RCT5 realizes that how you are with them?
I would say probably that didn't happen until I really hit the fleet. So after School of Infantry, you graduate the POI of whatever your MOS is, and you get your certificate. That's when you get your actual MOS. Instead of 03XX, you're now 0331 or 0311, 0341, whatever it is. And so I got orders to 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines with a couple of other dudes, and we get over there. Those dudes that I were friends with was they got sent to Easy Company or Fox Company or whatever it is to be the line platoon machine guns, so like 240s mainly. And then me and one or two other dudes got sent to Weapons Company, which was CAAT Platoons, which is Combined Anti-Armor Team.
Okay, yeah.
So whenever I got up there, first day I showed up, I get off the little fucking bus. We had a couple corporals pick us up and drive us on the main side on Camp Lejeune. Show up at the battalion area, and the way the barracks are laid out, at least for the old barracks, not the new ones, but the old barracks are 3 stories, and they have a catwalk on all 3 levels that go all the way around the building. Kind of like an old motel. But they're done in a square. So, 4-sided fucking quad of barracks with a big-ass fucking field in the middle for training. and formations and all that stuff. So we get off the little bus and we're walking onto the quad to put our bags down. And there is like, you can't even see the fucking brick of the barracks because of how many dudes are on the fucking catwalks. And they're like fucking barking at us and fucking hissing like cats and fucking throwing beer bottles and like all this other shit and hooting and hollering, and we're like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Just being
like,
Marines.
Yeah, like what are these cavemen?
That's
and I see this one dude out of all of them. His name was Corporal Hussinger, and this dude is about 6'4", and you can't even tell he has a fucking neck, dude. Like, his traps connect from his shoulders to his earlobes. Like, this dude is fucking massive. And he comes down there, and he's like, what's your fucking name? And I told him, and he was like, I'm going to take care of you. And I didn't know what that fucking meant. You know? Like, oh, I was scared. I was terrified. So he ended up being a really cool dude. He was fixing to get out. So he, he set us up with the rooms and shit like that. And I ended up being roommates with a dude that I went to boot camp with. So it wasn't like a, oh, who are you type thing. Like, we already kind of knew each other.
Yeah, made it easier, yeah.
Yeah, made it a lot easier. And I felt bad for another dude that we showed up with. They didn't have any more fucking rooms to put the boots in. So he had to room with another fucking, like, senior lance corporal. So, like, one of our seniors. And this dude put his fucking bags down at the door and went down to get more. And they lived on 3rd deck. So, like, the 3rd story of the barracks. And I'm watching this shit because I had already got my bags all the way up. And he drops his bags at the door, goes down to get more. And as soon as he rounds the corner, his roommate, one of our seniors, walks out and throws his fucking bags off of the 3rd deck onto the dirt.
Like, straight
and it
back
had
down.
like it had his like PlayStation in it and like a couple other things. And I mean, dude, he shit on that dude for probably the next month.
Wow.
Like, every time you go in their room, he's fucking like in a plank or doing push-ups or pull-ups or just doing fucking stupid shit.
Something.
Yeah. And then they called him Beer Boy. So anytime, like, we'd have barracks parties every weekend. So anytime one of them needed a beer, he had to fucking sprint to the refrigerator and get him a beer. But little shit like that is where you get that feeling again of what the fuck have I done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the way people are behaving, yeah.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
it now starts the fucking haze fest of, you're getting fucking hazed every other night because you don't know machine gun knowledge like they do, or you've forgotten stuff from the School of Infantry, and they're always testing you. Like, you walk by one of your seniors and they're like, hey, fucking dickhead, what's the max effective range of the M240 Bravo? And if you don't know that shit, then you get like, all right, hey, tight, we're gonna go for a run. So then all of a sudden at 9 o'clock at night, you're in fucking Crocs and a t-shirt with boxers on, and you're running 3 miles through the middle of fucking Camp Lejeune.
So at what point does it do you realize that the hazing is actually like a weird fucked up way of them teaching you all that fucking retarded knowledge?
Oh, dude, you never realize that. You just fucking hate it.
You just hate it and hate it.
Yeah, you don't realize that until you're like on deployment.
Yeah,
really.
It's all just coming out of nowhere. All that information.
Yeah, and then it gets to a point where they're asking you stuff and you're just being able to rattle it off.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it, you're like, oh fuck,
And now this time they're not asking you what it is because you know that you're not going to get a hazing. They're asking because they actually need that information now. Not just because they're trying to haze you back at boot camp or whatever. They actually need it in the field, and you're like, boom, there it is. And you're like, where the fuck would that come from? And then you remember, oh yeah, I forgot that, and they made me run, and I never forgot it again. Like.
Yeah. I mean, training's like that, man. You start to realize, like, holy fuck, like I know this stuff without thinking about it now. You know what I mean?
Retained.
And then we do. So my seniors started this stuff of what's called case studies, and they would take known like reports and stuff of engagements that Marines got in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they would take like the satellite pictures of the area and kind of give you the rundown of what happened, and they would ask us like, hey, each one of y'all fucking write down how you would emplace these machine guns to better support, this group of 11s moving from A to B and stuff to assault the objective. What do you need? What do you got? So on and so forth.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that kind of instilled, like, doing a lot of that stuff fucking instilled, like, the know-how of, it kind of put us a step above our peers that were in the line companies,
Yeah.
Because the line company guys, they were just getting shit on every day, all day, from the time they showed up till they got on deployment. And they weren't, like, a lot of those dudes, you could ask them questions and they wouldn't know. Like, yeah, man, I forgot that. Like, I don't really get taught. I just get fucking hazed and told to pay attention.
Yeah.
So I credit my seniors a lot for actually taking the time and teaching us without us realizing that we're being taught, if that makes sense.
Like, hazing you the right way, essentially.
Yeah.
Somewhat. As weird as some people don't understand the hazing thing, because you know how the media and fucking people portray hazing as just basically it's bullying. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and that's such a load of shit, man.
Yeah,
because without hazing, like, you're in a fucking. This is what I tell people, or my argument for it, right? Is you enlisted in the Marine Club, or in the Marine Corps, not the Marine Club, but the Marine Corps. At that point, you've joined the world's greatest fucking fighting organization. Everybody, it's not a secret what the fucking Marine Corps is, right? You look at the fucking history of us and stuff. I believe it was, the Japanese Admiral Yamakosa, or whatever the fuck his stupid ass name was, said that it would take 10,000 men or 1 million men of a lifetime to capture Tarawa in World War II, but it only took 4,000 Marines 2 days.
Yeah. Okay.
To capture Tarawa. So, I mean, you look at that kind of stuff, and you're like, I'm in a fucking gun club, dude. Like, it's no doubt that if we go to war, I'm gonna have to, like, my name's gonna get fucking picked to fucking shoot somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Am I really gonna be bitching about getting fucking hazed to know my job better?
Yeah, that's
or getting punished because I don't know my job? Or would you rather haze that person and beat the fucking knowledge into them to where even in a high-stress scenario when bullets are cracking over their fucking head and they've got dudes getting fucking shot in the face or having a sucking chest wound or whatever it is, like, they need to know that knowledge without fucking, thinking about it. That's my argument against it.
That brings me to the next question of, if you could sum up, I mean, for people that don't, for someone that doesn't understand, we're talking to gamers here. It's people that,
right.
Someone that doesn't understand, because like, let's face it, the machine gun isn't really portrayed very well in most video games. It's wielded like a fucking M4 a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
Reforger's a little bit different, but if you could sum up the importance of having like just 2 machine guns in a section and how they can change the face of just that section, that one line of guns to influence a firefight and influence the battle. If you could sum that up for people and make them understand, like, as many words as you want, just let them know what the machine gun can actually really do in the midst of a battle, just handheld, not mounted. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So there's 2 fucking sayings in the Marine Corps, right? There's the mission of the Marine Corps Rifle Squad. It's close with, destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver, repel the enemy assault by fire and close combat. So what that means is, if you're getting fucking shot at, fucking close width, stab that dude in the face with a bayonet. But with machine guns, there's also another saying within our culture that is movement without suppression is suicide. and suppression without movement is a waste of ammo. So those two kind of go hand in hand, right? If you're going to close width on the enemy, wouldn't you kind of want them to be fucking suppressed and keep their fucking heads down, where you have guys that can close width and stab those dudes in the face by the time they pop back up? Like, those dudes are already in your face, you know what I mean? So with machine guns, it's kind of the force multiplier for any fucking squad element. So especially if you go by the principles of pick 'em deep, which is the principles of machine gun employment, you have pairs, interlocking fields of fire, coordination of fire, mutual support, defilade, enfilade, economy of rounds, and protection, cover, and concealment. Anytime you emplace those guns, you want to try to hit every single point and pick 'em deep. So if you can do that, that is what's called the golden hour for machine guns, of like, hey, this is an impenetrable wall and stuff. Like, we can do whatever the fuck we want now. So being a force, especially like you said in Reforger, in a lot of games, like, dudes get belt feds and they just fucking run around and, you know, shoot around corners and like try to slide cancel. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's not how it's depicted in real life. So with machine guns, like, the max effective range of an M240 Bravo is 2,670 meters. So why not use that fucking distance as your friend and shoot from like 1,000 out and get overlapping fucking bursts, so you have a constant suppression on the enemy to where they're like, holy fuck, like, we're constantly getting peppered. I don't want to fucking poke my head up and risk getting shot. And then when that firing stops, you're like, okay, you know, I guess they think we're dead. And by the time they poke their head up, there's fucking an 18-year-old room temp IQ'd rifleman standing there with a fucking bayonet that just stabs you in your fucking grapeseed. So that's kind of how I explain fucking machine guns and what they're actually for. They're not for killing people, even though we stack fucking bodies, but they're for keeping that fucking head down, so to keep maneuvers safe. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm fucking rambling.
It makes sense to me, because I've looked into machine gunning a little bit, you know what I mean? So it makes sense to me, and like infantry movements and all that. If you understand anything about infantry movements, and like how you were saying, trying to get your infantrymen up to close to the enemy so they can engage with better accuracy or stab them in the face. And if you've got that lead, if someone's shooting at them constantly, they can't poke their head up to shoot, because there's bullets hitting the wall that they're hiding behind or whatever constantly. So then,
exactly.
And like you said before, they do realize that there's someone right next to that wall shooting them in the face. Like, so.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't utilize it in the game. They don't utilize machine guns properly at all. You see people double gunning with a saw and a sniper rifle and shit like that, and it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, that shit.
Of the time, you know,
that shit fucking pisses me off.
Makes me vomit. But yeah, so now you're pro machine gun. You're walking out of all your training fucking ready to go. How long did you get until like you finish your unless you got anything else to say about your training?
No, man. You never fucking finish training. You're always trying to learn something else. You know, like whenever you hit the fleet, you've got a bunch of different courses that you can go to, and so on and so forth. So with us being a CAAT platoon, which is Combined Anti-Armor Team, our main job was to hunt down and destroy enemy armor or armored assets. So we have, it's mainly heavy machine guns that are mounted on trucks, so like 50s, Mark 19s, and then we have what's the 0352 MOS, which is anti-tank missile gunners, who they operate the M240 on the truck, as well as the fucking Saber system, which fires a tow missile. Pretty fucking dope. Kind of gay if you ask me, but I'm biased. But the tows are fucking cool, man. It's like a $2.5 million weapon system.
Just what they're capable of doing and take out a tank.
Yeah, like, away, yeah. Dude, I think the max range of like the Tow 2 Bravo is like 3,000 meters or some fucking stupid shit like that. And it's a wire-guided missile. If anybody doesn't know what the fucking tow missile is, look it up. And look up if they're looking up what the tow missile is. Look up what the Monroe effect is, because that's what it does to the tank.
Damn.
But it so we utilize those in conjunction and stuff to destroy enemy armor and armored assets. Which, as soon as I read the mission statement of CAAT, I was fucking hooked. I was like, dude, this is the most badass thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
So that's whenever I really started taking everything serious, and the autism started to develop.
And you just wanted to suck it all up, all the knowledge of it.
Oh yeah, dude, I was asking to go to fucking courses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was asking to go to courses all the time, and fucking, like picking the brains of the guys who have been there before me. And so, like, hey, if you're in this scenario, you've got a fucking T-90 that rolls over the hill at 2,000 meters. Like, how do you want to shift those fires to get them to button up? And, constantly asking those questions that not a whole lot of people ask.
Yeah.
So that's when I really got hooked.
Also, at this point now that so how long was that? Is that 2 years? Is that a year and a half? How long is that from boot to where you to training to finish, like to be put into the onto the ship essentially? Because you're all part of aircraft carriers, aren't you? Essentially.
Well, so it depends on what kind of deployment you're going on.
Yeah.
So from SOI to my first deployment, quote unquote, which was just a big fucking NATO exercise, was about 8 months.
Okay.
So
that's actually a lot faster than what I thought. But you're flat out. You said you flat out. You said it was real fast because you just constant like. So
we had a huge fucking op tempo.
Yeah. So when you passed and you started doing, like, you're a Marine now and you're essentially working. Did you? Yep. When did you think about Jamie again? I hope he's looking down at me. I hope he's proud. I hope he's happy. Like.
Yeah. I mean, most of my career and stuff, every time I do something that I was proud of, I was thinking about him. Like, hey man, like, this shit's for you. Yeah. Like, we're gonna make the best of what we got.
Yeah.
And then, so each high point in my career, like, I would always make sure that I fucking said something to him. You know, like, hey, I'm acknowledging you, brother. Like, this is for you.
Yeah, that's good.
So.
Yeah. All right.
But first NATO exercise, that was a trip.
What do they call those NATO exercises?
So ours was fucking Operation Trident Juncture, I believe is what it was. We had like 13 different countries there, all within NATO. So we had like the Germans, fucking Brits, the Aussies were there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the rest. French, I believe the Spanish, but I can't remember if they were there or not.
Yeah.
And then the Norwegians, obviously, were there.
So,
we ended up going to Iceland and Norway, that little stint.
I think Titan said that he did something similar too when he passed out. The first thing that he did was a deployment similar to what? Is that what they usually do? Like, because I know that America likes to use their military as much as they can to get their money's worth, I guess. But like, as soon as you pass out, they'll make, even if you're not on an actual war deployment, you're on a training deployment or doing something. They're using you somehow. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Each year they have X amount of fucking NATO exercises. A big one for the Marine Corps is fucking Operation Darwin in northwestern Australia.
Yeah.
That's one that's every fucking year.
Yeah, we hear about that all the time. That's actually pretty big for Australia, actually.
Yeah. So each unit, I believe it rotates. I can't remember how they do it, but each unit is slated to participate with those. So even before I, hit the fleet or anything, they already knew that they were doing Trident Juncture. So we pushed out for that. That's the first time I've ever been on a ship, and that wasn't a cruise ship. And dude, ship life for the Navy, good on them, man. Because fuck that. We floated, I think it was like a month from Virginia all the way to Iceland, and they don't go in just fucking straight line.
Yeah,
stuff for like operational shit.
That's what a lot of people don't. I mean, I come from a Navy family. A lot of people don't realise that you can't just take a Navy warship and beeline it straight for a country, because that country will be like, hey, what the fuck? Why are they coming straight at us like that? They'll think it's an act of war. They'll take it as act of war.
Yeah, it's an act of war. So they
they
make
have to
squares.
do this weird grid pattern, swerving. They'll go back, turn around on themselves. Weird patterns. They do some weird shit.
Yeah.
But they must waste so much fuel doing that, man. Like...
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised, man. A lot of these, from my understanding at least, is like the bigger aircraft carrier that America has are nuclear powered.
Yeah,
so
that's true, actually.
They can
now
go,
I think about it, yeah, it's nuclear powered.
They can go years without fucking needing refuel.
A lot of the subs are nuclear powered now as well, so they're all gone.
Yeah, but true. Crazy fact, the ship that I was on going to Norway, this was in 2018? Yeah, 2018. The ship that I was on going to Norway was the USS Iwo Jima, which is the same one that was off the coast of Venezuela whenever we snatched their fucking president.
There you go. There you go.
So that's pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty cool. That was pretty sick of that, what they did. We can talk about that later too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking dope, man. But, so yeah, we floated for like a month over to Iceland, got like 3 days of liberty, and got absolutely hammered fucking drunk with the British Royal Marines. So the Brits actually joined us halfway through our float. So they took off on fucking helos from Wales, I believe, and joined us on the fucking aircraft carrier and floated the rest of the way. So ended up making some pretty good friends there with those guys. One of them is now 22 SAS in the Royal Armed Forces and shit, which is pretty fucking dope.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And so made a bunch of friends with those dudes and got hammered fucking drunk in Iceland with them. Of all places, so in Iceland, the biggest town and the capital of Iceland is called Reykjavik, right? And in a single weekend, it was 4,000 Marines and sailors there. That includes the fucking Royal Marines. We drank the entire fucking city out of beer in a single weekend, where they were having to drive to the next city over
to bring beer back.
To bring back liquor and beer. I've got the New York Times article. I can send it to you, and you can fucking stitch it in the video.
That's funny, yes.
But yeah. So we drank the entire. Of all places there, we ended up at this fucking American bar that had like a statue of Uncle Sam outside. So we hang out there all the time and just get fucking shit-faced drunk.
That's funny.
So, get back on the ship, and then we're headed to Norway, getting ready for this. And the plan was to do an amphibious landing into Norway, and it's basically like a giant force-on-force, right? So they split the NATO teams, us, the Brits, and I want to say the Norwegians against the Germans, the French, and somebody else. So it's like a giant force-on-force, which was pretty fucking cool. Like, I didn't even know the military did this kind of stuff, and because I've never been exposed to it or nothing else. But each fucking group had what they called a monitor with us, which was a representative from NATO who would it's kind of like a giant game of airsoft and stuff, like call your hits, like that dude's dead, kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. We showed how effective CAAT was. That's whenever I really got to see how effective CAAT was against, armor and the tactics that we use, how effective all of it was. That's when I really got into the fucking autism of CAAT platoons. Getting to see, I think we, in 3 days, or 4 or 5 days, we notionally destroyed like 25 pieces of German and French armor, called 3 fixed-wing CAS missions, and I'd shut down the main MSR that ran through whatever town we were operating to where they couldn't even like get a foothold anymore. So that shit was pretty fucking cool.
Did you see any of the foreign forces do anything bad? What was out of all of the ones you're working with? Did you see them doing anything really bad, or what were the ones you seen do something really cool and really like the best ones like?
So the fucking Germans, dude, those guys are fucking studs. they're pretty fucking cool. They're still using the MG42 basically. It's an MG3, but all it is an updated, modernized MG42, which is fucking awesome. And you know, we got to hang out with those dudes a good bit. The French are fucking stupid. Like I wouldn't go to war with them if somebody paid me to. They called artillery on themselves like 3 times. And that was like the main thing. So we got to like hang out with all of them at the end of it in a town called Oslo in Norway, which is like not the capital, I believe. It was either Oslo or Trondheim that we were in. And in a giant fucking soccer stadium, and we got to hang out and like trade gear and talk to all of them and get shit-faced drunk and, you know, like share stories with each other. And the Germans were probably the coolest that we ever got to work with, hearing the stories from those dudes. Some of the German KSK was there, which is like some of their fucking special operations guys. They were there. We got to hang out with those dudes and share gear and trade shit with them. All they wanted was fucking K-bars for some reason.
Yeah. I do want a K-bar actually.
I'll send you one.
No, I can just buy one. It's too hard to send knives over into Australia. It'll probably just get sent back to you. Or they'll probably fucking throw it in a bin, man. So I'll buy. I'll try and find an authentic one in country already, but
that's fair. I forget the weird ass wallets they'll have.
It's fucked. They'll probably just throw it away. I won't get it. So
but
I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask too, but the K-bar
asking the cool stuff, the countries.
Yeah, I've seen the Germans do some pretty fucking cool shit, and they wear some pretty sick kit. Like, they look pretty dope. I don't know what their version of the Navy SEALs are. They're fucking
That's KSK.
Is that KSK? Is it okay? They wear those veils when they're doing.
No, that's Polish Grom.
Is that Polish? Is it? Those dudes look serious, man. Those dudes look fucking
the Polish
evil,
frogman Grom.
Yeah.
Yeah, those dudes are fucking terrifying.
Yeah, those dudes fucking scare me, man. Like, they're nightmarish. Like.
Yeah, man, they're fucking. It's either Polish Grom or the Danish frogman. I can't remember.
It's one of the two, but yeah, they do it. They get after it for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, getting to see how the other countries operate and like how they structure their platoons and how it's different from us and our tactics versus theirs. It's a learning experience. 100%. Like, I picked up stuff from them, you know, then started implementing it in our platoon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool getting to work with other countries like that.
Did they get stuff off of you, like learn shit off you too as well? Like they were like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Marine Corps machine gun tactics are actually the same tactics that the Nazis used in World War II.
Ah, interesting.
So the Nazis actually perfected machine gun and machine gun gunnery. And a lot of people hate when you fucking say that because you're kind of like giving credit to the Nazis and shit like that, but
yeah, I have. I've seen it. I mean, you might have seen it in my last video. I don't know if you watched it all, but the meme with you reprimanded someone for not using the belt fed properly, the 50 cal, because they were tapping it, and I went to that meme with that German fella using a 50 cal for the first time.
Yeah.
And it goes to the that Reich music and shit, and he's like, pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, man, the Germans, like, dude, they perfected it and stuff. They're the ones who invented pick 'em deep.
Oh, really? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they're the ones. If I'm not mistaken, that's true. Now, don't quote me on that.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up when I'm doing editing and figure it out. But yeah,
fact check that. Jamie, can you fact check that? But they getting to see, you know, they still use a lot of it, but they have different tactics now because their tactics are based off terrain and, you know, so on and so forth, and like how they make up their squads. But a lot of it getting to transfer that knowledge to them and then them transfer knowledge to us of different situations is pretty fucking cool.
And so how long did that exercise go for?
I believe it was like 2 weeks. And 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, and then we floated back.
And then you're back on the boat, back to the States.
Yeah, back on the boat and hit a fucking hurricane in the middle of the Atlantic on a fucking naval vessel.
Ew. Were you on the carrier or are you on?
Yeah, we were on the carrier.
Yeah.
And dude, you can't even fucking walk in that place, you know, without, like, dudes are sitting on stools, like, eating, watching TV. and like you're getting thrown around and slung down a fucking hallway. Like it's fun until a dude breaks his fucking nose, which
someone gets
happened.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
my old man had a few horror stories because he was on the smaller frigates and that, so they were getting real thrown around. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Especially stopping at the livo ports and stuff like that, getting hammered drunk in other countries. That was the best part.
So you just getting to see the bit of the world, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Favorite country on the way through.
On the way from there, probably Iceland.
Yeah.
Iceland, like shit was pretty cheap. They had great fucking food there, but Norway, I will say. They have the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. Even the fucking guys are gorgeous, and I'm not gay, but the guys are fucking gorgeous there. The girls are drop dead fucking gorgeous.
A very fit nation too, I hear as well. Very fit.
Well, so what I heard, and I don't know the validity of it, but whenever they still had Vikings, they would have like a council, and every baby that was born had to be brought before the council, and if it like wasn't pretty enough or like met a certain standard or something or other, the baby was killed.
So that they might have bred out.
Yeah, they were like creating their own fucking culture, you know, and now they're all just like drop dead fucking gorgeous people.
That's crazy.
So pretty fucking cool, but Norway's super fucking expensive. It was like $10 for a beer.
Oh shit. So
I mean, you still pay $10.
You still pay for it. You need a drink.
You're still paying for it.
You still want a drink. Yeah. So you get back to the States, and how long? What do you do when you? What does a Marine do when you're not on deployment? More training, I guess.
So the infantry Marine. It depends on if you're a senior guy or a junior guy. Right? Sorry, I've got the fucking indigestion. Depends on if you're a senior guy or a junior guy. If you're a junior guy, you're outside training your job all fucking day. You go to chow, come back, you're training more of your job, or you're at the armory cleaning guns, or doing classes, so on and so forth. Like a bunch of the senior guys teach hip bucket classes on certain things, doing machine guns or whatever. But we do what's called gun drills, which is basically occupying a sport by fire over and over and over again until you get it right and perfect it, and then you do it a couple more times. So we'll practice fucking at least with machine guns, right? So we'll practice the gun drill. You'll get squad leader will get the ADRAC, you know, alert, direction, description, range, assignment, and control, and you'll occupy notionally the support by fire. Team leader slam the tripod down. You got to hit the gun up on the tripod and then load it, get the gun up, and then we'll practice dead gunner drills. So if your gunner gets smoked in the fucking face, you got to throw your leg. The team leader will throw his leg over and then grab a piece of kit and roll the dead body on top of him, throw him off the gun. And the team leader will get on the gun, and the ammo bearer comes up and becomes the team leader. And then we'll practice that kind of stuff of efficient gun lines over and over and over again until it's perfected. If you're a senior guy, though, you're in your room playing fucking PlayStation.
Waiting for everyone to get back.
Yeah.
So in Vietnam, there's that, I can't remember the band, there's that Rooster song that talked about...
Alice in Chains, Rooster.
That's it. And it's 8 seconds lifespan as soon as he started letting rip with that. 60.
Yep. It was 7 seconds after the first burst in Vietnam was when the gunner would get smoked.
So, I know that is only really depicted for Vietnam, but is there a new lifespan of a machine gunner nowadays? Or they don't really, it's not really a thing anymore?
Well, so in Vietnam, you know, you got to think of the terrain that they were in. You know, all of it's this thick triple canopy jungle. You know, engagements were 50 meters and in. Nowadays, especially with Iraq and Afghanistan, you know, machine gunners are engaging anywhere from 200 to 1,000 meters out. So the life expectancy shoots way up because you've got that distance in between you. And, I mean, the life expectancy for Vietnam tracks because of the close engagements and shit. But I mean, nowadays, you know, it's kind of unpredictable. Like, you got fucking dudes in man dresses shooting shot-out-ass AKs at them. Mujahideen used to fight the Russians in the 50s, so they probably got 80,000 rounds put through them. So that's where the whole inaccuracy of the AK came from.
Yeah, true.
Oh, my monitor keeps shutting off.
Oh, he's not touching it.
Yeah. But yeah, the life expectancy's gone way up and stuff just due to engagements and enemy
I guess
and
it just
everything else.
that's more of a like, depending on the war, is sort of, you know.
Exactly.
That doesn't really count, but it did make me pull out some information from you.
Yeah, dude, fucking Vietnam was a wild place, man. I've been to the Vietnam Museum for the Army. I haven't been to the one for the Marine Corps yet, but I actually knew a machine gunner who was in Vietnam, who was in the Marine Corps, and he said that it was like whenever you would get shot at, especially at night, like you couldn't even fucking see dudes. You were just shooting at muzzle flashes.
Yeah.
And then hoping they were there.
That's why the machine gunners were getting killed a lot, weren't they? Because they were easily located.
They were trying to suppress and stuff. And the muzzle flash of a 60, I mean, dude, it's like fucking 2 foot big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially at nighttime.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So.
And the noise as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can recognize the fucking sound of a pig anywhere.
So. You get home from fucking your first deployment. You're doing normal training. What year is this again? I've forgotten already.
This is 2018 going into 2019. So I'm gearing up for what I call my first real deployment.
Which was Afghanistan, yeah?
Yeah.
And
yeah, so which that one was kind of weird, right? So we actually went to Okinawa. Technically went to Okinawa twice. So first stint, we're getting ready to deploy. What I call my first real deployment. We're going to Okinawa, and after we get over there, we got through the fucking break-in period, and the platoon's slated to go to the Philippines to do some training in Crow Valley with the Philippine Marine Corps. And at this time, MARSOC is, MARSOC's doing shit in Afghanistan outside of Helmand Province, and 2-7, which is 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, is on what's called Task Force Southwest. So they were directly under CENTCOM as like handling all fucking combat operations in Afghanistan, basically. I don't remember if it was like southern Afghanistan or all of Afghanistan. But so they had dudes running a QRF for MARSOC doing their raids and hits or whatever it was that they were doing, fucking secret squirrel shit. So they had dudes that had to be sent back because one of them's wife was pregnant and they were getting ready to have a baby, and another dude had complications, like it broke his femur or something like that. It was some fucking wild shit. And he had jumped off of a fucking mud hut and broke his leg, broke his femur. So he had to be fucking sent back. So they were like down a couple dudes. And MARSOC was getting ready to do this hit on a fucking Taliban leader. So we were already forward deployed, technically, in the same fucking hemisphere as them. So they grabbed me and another guy and sent them as part of the fucking QRF for 2-7. So I was only there for close to a month, 2 weeks to a month, somewhere in there. But that's when fucking all hell broke loose of that one.
So wait, before we get into that, so they only picked 2 of you for that job.
Yeah.
So they really picked you because of your speciality, right?
Well, so I like to think that, but I really think it was they picked us because I was a fucking section leader, getting ready to be a fucking corporal and stuff, and we weren't tasked already with something. So they picked me and another dude from CAAT for like seniority reasons, I guess you could say.
Okay, because you could lead as well.
Yeah, a bunch of the other dudes like who were getting ready to go to the Philippines were like either in courses or they, had already been billeted to do something else, or left for Advon for the Philippines or whatever. So we were kind of like the next best thing. Like, hey, y'all aren't doing shit, y'all go.
Okay. And so you're stateside while this is happening?
No, I was in Okinawa.
So you're okay. You said that, yeah. Sorry. So you're in Okinawa, and then they tell you go in Afghanistan.
Yep.
So you're on a plane now.
Yeah. So we go down to fucking what is that fucking air station in the middle of Okinawa? Not Iwakuni. I can't remember the fucking air station name. It's the only place you could get Busch Light in a bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. the weird shit I fucking remember. That was the only place you could get fucking Busch Light on the whole island.
It stood out to you, that's why. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Bottle.
Yeah, we would drive from the north. It was on the southern part of the island, too. It was an Air Force base.
That would have been really nice, too, in a glass bottle. Ooh.
Yeah. So we flew out from there, got on fucking C-17 down there with a couple other dudes. No idea who the fuck they were. But then flew into Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan and got on a Black Hawk and flew south in the direction of Sangin, just outside the Korengal Valley, and linked up with 2-7 and got put in a fucking platoon and kind of got read in on what the fuck was going on out there. So that was shit started getting fucking real. Like, you don't realize what the fuck is going on until you're there. Like, and this was, like I said, 2019. Like, shit's died down a lot. It's not like it was in like 2008, 2009, especially in Helmand in 2011, where you couldn't walk 2 fucking foot without getting shot at. So shit's died down a lot. There mainly is kind of like running on a fucking skeleton crew for the Taliban, or they backed off a lot for their operations, not as high profile. And that's whenever we got read in on what exactly was going on and what we were going to be doing. So kind of what our job was, or at least what I got read in on, was that we were going to be running a quick reaction force for MARSOC to do a hit on a Taliban leader, or I can't remember if he was a leader or a weapon dealer or something or other for fucking Taliban. But going to be doing a hit on him and stuff, snatching his ass, and basically just fucking banging out pretty straightforward stuff. But whenever we got there, my job, I was in the truck, so I was the VC, vehicle commander of a fucking truck. Our main job was looking for fucking squirters and exfilling the team hot if we needed to. So we're posted up. A lot of this shit's a little fucking blurry from a lot of it, but posted up. We got there like fucking 3 or 4 in the morning for a hit. They're supposed to go exfil by fucking daylight. Posted up on his house looking for fucking squirters. He lived in like the middle of this fucking weird ass valley thing that was like had highs and lows. The main high was in the background, kind of from where we were, and then like a small mountain and a kind of medium sized mountain off to the left with a fucking ASR running right in the middle. And looking for fucking squirters. MARSOC comes in and they were going to blow the door and then go in, clear the house. The dude was supposed to be second story, but when they blew the door, it was a barricaded machine gun that was already in the fucking house. So Point Man gets fucking lit up with a PKM. They're dragging him off, and they're fragging the fuck out of the house. And that's whenever they called, like, hey, we got a dude down, like, we need more guys. So a couple dudes from 2-7 went down there to help assist and dragged that dude off. And they ended up getting the bright idea, hey, let's just blow a hole in the fucking wall. Let's make a door, you know what I mean? And so they made a door. Well, a Taliban guy was leaned up against that fucking wall when they blew the door, so he became part of the fucking carpet. And as they went in, they go, I don't know what happened in the house or anything else, but they come back downstairs with the dude, and he's fucking bloody from head to toe. They shove him in one of the Vics behind us. I was lead Vic. So we're exfilling, we're peppering the fucking house with 50 because there's still small arms fire coming from it. And on our way out, I think it was 5 minutes up the road, something like that. We're moving to a certain grid, you know, for a fucking handoff. And riding down the road, listening to fucking Katy Perry off of a Bluetooth speaker, and then everything feels fucking weightless. And it was like everything goes black around us. And we ended up hitting a fucking, it was two 155 artillery shells tied together with a 9-volt initiator. Hit our lead Vic, completely compressed my spine, and ended up with a radio in my fucking side that had pierced the skin on my lower abdomen, just underneath my plate carrier. And I'm dazed, confused, can't fucking see, blurry as all get out, which is our vehicle at the beginning of the video that you showed in the intro. And I got pulled out, my gunner's dead. He wasn't wearing his fucking gunner's harness. So whenever he came out the Vic, he got fucking catapulted basically out of the turret and landed on his fucking neck. Killed him, and we get in another gunfight there. And I'm blurry, can't fucking see shit, nothing else. Trying to return fire from where I think they were. One of the MARSOC guys ended up grabbing my fucking gun away from me because he saw I was fucking stumbling and couldn't see. Really, I was asking him where the shots were coming from. I'm walking out, like, almost out of cover, basically. And he grabs my fucking gun from me and takes the mag out of it and gives it back to me. He's like, here, use this. So I'm running around with fucking no mag in the gun, no round in the chamber, or nothing else. And because that's the first priority whenever you have a casualty, is take their fucking gun away from them. And I ended up getting medevaced out, or put on the bird with one other dude who, I believe it was my gunner, but I can't remember. Getting put on the bird with them, and we've got flew to Charlie Med, which don't remember where the fuck that was. It was on the other side of fucking Afghanistan, I think, close to Kabul. And flew from there. That's whenever they pushed fucking ketamine on me, and I blacked out, woke up in Germany, and then spent a couple days there with one surgery, and then flew back stateside. And I remember getting back to the Wounded Warrior Project in Lejeune.
For like you get to Afghanistan and that was all over a day, 2 days. How long were you in Afghanistan before that happened?
I was there probably 2 to 3 weeks before that happened, because a lot of it's fucking getting read in on. Everybody's getting read in on the plan. You know, you're going over your rehearsals and stuff like that, trying to make sure it's going to go down perfect. Doing surveillance, looking at ISR, kind of surveilling the area around the house, and making sure your plan's perfect, you know what I mean?
Squared away, yeah.
Yeah, so that, apparently the night before our ISR had went down and stuff, they had pulled it off station for, I believe, a fucking Green Beret team that was in contact, like 2 hours north of us. And, so we lost the ISR platform, and during that time, they had planted an IED like a mile off of where the house was.
And what was the extent of your injuries once you got?
So the one on my side where the radio went in, that just got fucking sewed up. It's a little bit of a fucking scar, not much. But my back, I blew out 6 discs, tilted my fucking pelvis basically permanently, like it still is tilted. Lost fucking height of 2 inches, 1 inch, 2 inch, whatever it is. So I'm 6 foot flat now, and I've got, I can't remember what they fucking call it, but it's like a radiocoloth. I don't know, big fucking words, dude. It starts with an R.
Yeah.
But blew out fucking 6 discs in my back, and didn't. Thank God for the fucking MATV's blast plates, because that was the extent of it. Is my back got fucked up. That was it.
Yeah.
And then I hit my fucking head against the side of the fucking door. So that was
smashed up against it.
That and the fucking overpressure, because I didn't have my mouth open when the bomb went off either.
And you couldn't see just because you were concussioned.
Yeah, concussion from hitting my fucking head and the overpressure.
And the Brain swelling. Yeah.
Dude, it felt like. Have you ever like held your breath too long underwater?
Oh, I've had some really bad concussions before riding bikes
Yeah.
and shit. So yeah,
or like if you've ever been choked out and stuff, like when your face gets real fucking hot and your head feels like it weighs 9,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what the overpressure felt like.
Okay.
And it was like everything was fucking slow motion.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was mainly the extent of it. So I got sent back to the States, sent in the Wounded Warrior Project on Camp Lejeune, and I was there for. The boys are coming back from Okinawa at this point, so that was going into fucking 2020, I believe. And I spent 3.5 months at Wounded Warrior, and was supposed to spend 6 months there, but I snuck out to try to make the next deployment with the boys, and ended up. I was married at the time, which I was volunteering for shit to get away from her. It's a fucking terrible marriage. Probably because she was Jewish, but...
Oh, fucking hell, Fed. Jeez.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, her last name was Goldstein.
Oh, God. Yeah. Lord, save him.
But, snuck away from fucking Wounded Warrior, got back with the company, and told my fucking platoon sergeant what happened. And I was like, look, man, like, I'm supposed to be back over there, you know. Like, I want to make the next deployment. Like, put me on it. He was like, well, we're going to Okinawa again. So I was like, tight, put me on it. So in this was like in the fucking brink of COVID. We fucking leave out again and go back to Okinawa. And that was the longest 6 months of my fucking life, was being in Okinawa.
Just doing nothing but training and...
Dude, well... So the first 2 weeks, they made it a mandatory fucking quarantine.
Oh, because of COVID, right? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So we got there and we're just stuck in our fucking rooms for 2 weeks, doing absolutely fucking nothing but playing PlayStation and watching movies, and like we couldn't even go to the fucking gym, dude. Like we had guys in like their rooms that were paying other dudes who were already there to go like pick up cinder blocks from this construction site where they were building a PX on the base.
Yeah.
And they were paying them like $20 per cinder block to bring them back to them so they could work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they were feeding us shitty ass fucking meals, like bagged eggs, like powdered eggs and shit. It was fucking awful. But finally got done with that quarantine, and that's when we actually started getting the fucking train and go to like Jungle Warfare Training Center in northern Okinawa and doing all that kind of stuff, which was fun.
So, like, your injuries obviously were they that severe that you were still in pain in that way? You had to go to work?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I mean, I was hurting. I couldn't lift. At the time, I was on SARMs, which is like legal steroids. Basically, it's like pill versions.
Yeah.
And so I was deadlifting like fucking 465 for 4 on a consistent basis. But now I would try to deadlift, and it was like somebody was pulling a fucking plug out of the light socket.
Yeah.
Like I could feel like my back was disconnected.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I'm telling our fucking corpsman, I'm like, hey man, which our corpsman at the time was a fucking power lifter, so he knew everything there is to know about fucking weightlifting.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, like this is fucking killing me. So I started taking some like under the table fucking painkillers, and got on those from him that he was getting from the fucking BAS, and the BAS chief was an ex-MARSOC guy who knew a bunch of the dudes who were on the fucking Afghan deployment. So he kind of knew what happened. And so he was feeding the fucking painkillers in there. And he was like, dude, if you need anything, let me know. So I was the section leader at the time, so I didn't have to do all the physical shit, really. It was more just like overseeing the dudes and like with trainings and stuff like that, or like ranges.
Yeah, okay.
I was RSO, range safety officer. So I wasn't doing a whole lot, but wearing a fucking plate carrier for as long as I did on some days would dude, it felt like my back was on fire.
And and those helmets are heavy too. People don't realize as well, like how heavy a fucking actual Kevlar, like proper armored helmet is. They're fucking heavy. Having that on your head, pushing your head down, it's not, you know.
Yeah, that shit's fucking rough. We had the fucking high cuts at the time, but you know, PVS 31s are like 4 pounds, and then having the counterweight on the back with a Manus strobe on the top, and you know all the wires and shit like that for comm systems, like that's the helmet alone is like 15 pounds.
Yeah, and then at night you chuck night vision on the front of it as well.
Yeah.
And the battery pack on the back of the helmet, and then it's fucking even heavier. Like, so that op you guys did when you got fucking blown up, was that a day op or was that in the morning?
That was early morning. So whenever I got hit it was early morning. I think we were like 30 minutes from daylight because we were trying to meet a fucking time frame.
And like. Was everything on schedule up until that point? You guys got to zing in, zing out. You know, you didn't really have to fucking do much. You didn't fucking, you know, there wasn't heaps of dudes there to drop or anything like that.
We weren't doing anything. We weren't doing anything for QRF. Marshall was taking they took one hit from that embedded machine gun.
Yeah, and that was the end of it.
But I mean, after they made the fucking hole in the side of the wall, I mean, they were mopping up from there basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last deployment that I was on fucking sucked. But I didn't start feeling.
Like, is that just because of like your back and COVID and were you thinking of like, okay, I think I'm done with the military now then, or were you like you still wanted in, you still wanted more?
Oh no, I was still ready to I was getting ready to sign my re-enlistment.
Yeah, okay.
For that, I was getting ready to sign my re-enlistment, and then the whole fucking you know, like I said, with my back and everything going on. So we in that deployment, we didn't do anything to that deployment really. We didn't even get to go to the Philippines or nothing else. Yeah, COVID absolutely fucked it. So we get back, and by this point, we're getting ready. I've got like a year left on my contract, I believe. And so like we're back for 2 or 3 months, and we're gonna go to 29 Palms in Bridgeport. For the Combined Arms Training and Mountain Warfare Training Center in California. And at this point, you know, I'm still seeing my corpsman kind of under the table because infantry culture, man, you don't report anything of you being hurt for the risk of them pulling you from the platoon. And so you kind of just keep that shit on the fucking down low. So I talked to my corpsman about it, and I'm like, hey, man, like, don't fucking...
And you all fucking look after each other, don't you, too? Like, no one will say nothing because you all know what it's like and what's going to happen, so yeah.
Yeah, you communicate, pressure, and by this point, you know, this is like eight months after the explosion, and I live off base because I had a wife, and the way Camp Lejeune is, and so I lived in Sneed's Ferry, so you go through the back gate of Lejeune, and it was like 15 to 20 minutes to my company area, so I would have to be there, you know, and get accountability of my dudes and shit like that. But it started getting to where I would forget how to get to work and forget how to get to the battalion, and you only make like 3 fucking turns like to get on the main side from where I lived. And so I started forgetting how to get there.
Was that
I had to call. No. So what we found out later was it was T.B.I. starting to set in.
Yep. Okay.
Which a lot of people don't understand, that like the effects of T.B.I. don't come till way later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started forgetting how to get to work. I would have to fucking, call a buddy of mine and be like, hey man, I'm kind of lost. I don't really know where the fuck I'm at. So he would come and get me, or he would kind of walk me on to where I needed to be. And then I started forgetting fucking names and started forgetting timelines that I had. So I had to write everything fucking down. Like, you could look at my desk in the company office and there was like 1,000 fucking sticky notes everywhere. And I would forget my fucking CAAT card reader to get into my government laptop and all kinds of other shit. So I would just kind of shrug that shit off, and then we're getting ready to go to fucking Bridgeport. So Bridgeport comes around, and for dudes who have never been to fucking Bridgeport, it is a fucking haze fest of hiking. The first fucking day that we were there, we climbed like, I think it's like 4,000 or 5,000 feet in elevation. Stuff hiking with 120-pound packs.
Damn.
So my back was fuckered. Felt every bit of that fucking every step. I was feeling it.
How could you do it, bro? You just fucking stuck it in and just did it.
Yeah, mainly just sucking it the fuck up. Just sucking it up. We'd stop every, I think it was like 3 miles or something like that to like acclimate to the elevation.
Yeah.
For a few minutes, and whenever we were on that, I'd be like, hey, I gotta go take a shit. And I would go off in the fucking woods and pop a few painkillers and come back and continue the hike. And then one of our boots would fall out of the hike. Like, he couldn't walk anymore. You know, he's beat a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
And so I'd take the receiver for the 50 cal from him, which is 52 pounds.
Fucking hell.
And so a 120-pound pack plus a 52-pound receiver continuing to walk. So we'd stop again, and hey, I'm going to shit. You know, I'd go over there and pop a couple more painkillers.
Yeah.
And then continue that. So that was Bridgeport. We were there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that was 2 weeks of
just
walking and popping painkillers.
Popping painkillers. And forgetting shit.
Yeah, I'm forgetting shit.
So, how long did that go for until you realized there's a fucking issue here and I need to get it addressed?
So I didn't really say there was a big issue until I was already out. When it really got bad. So, you know, we left fucking Bridgeport. We go to 29. That was nothing but ranges and doing range 400, the combined arms range for the Marine Corps, where you get to use helicopters and machine guns and mortars and all that shit on the same range. It's pretty fucking cool. So got over there and started noticing kind of like vertigo issues, like early in the mornings and stuff. When we would wake up, I would stand up and everything's fucking shaking. I can't get my balance. I'd have to sit back down, and then I would get like winded. It wasn't that I was like out of shape or nothing, but I would get winded walking to the fucking head or the toilet and stuff, which was like 50 yards away from our hooch. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? So I tell my corpsman about that, and he was like, you know, just keep an eye on it. Like, we really don't know what's going on. Like, I don't have time to fuck with this right now. I've got other shit I got, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, we'll deal with that, whatever. So come back from 29, do our job there, and I'm getting ready to re-enlist. Well, that's whenever Biden, the president at the time, made it mandatory that all military active duty personnel had to have a form of the COVID vaccine, or they were going to, you know, get kicked out. So I had to make this fucking decision on if I was getting the COVID vaccine or not. And I was getting ready to sign my re-enlistment paperwork, like I said, and my fucking first sergeant came up and was like, hey man, you still don't have the vaccine. Like, what's the verdict on this? And I was like, first sergeant, I'm not putting something in my body that, you know, just came out 2 fucking months ago. It took 10 years for the anthrax vaccine, you know, to get approved by the FDA and everything else. Like, I'm not putting something in my body that ain't been approved, and they're just telling me to trust it. Like, I've been got with that shit before, you know, that's why I'm here right now. And he was like, yeah, you know, I get it and stuff, but if, you know, if your EAS date lines up, so like end of active service date, ends like 2 days before the fucking deadline. And I was like, he said, so you can get out with a fucking honorable discharge and still get all your benefits, the whole 9 yards. But if you don't, and you want to re-enlist like you say you do, then you're going to get kicked out, like admin sept basically, and other than honorable discharge, and lose your benefits. So obviously that was a fucking like decision that I had to make, whether I was going to take that vaccine or just get out. Which I love the Marine Corps more than anything in this world. Like that my wife will argue with me, but the Marine Corps was my first true love. You know what I mean? there's something about that gun club that brings people in, and the brotherhood that it fucking develops is nothing like you've ever fucking seen. So that was a massive decision that I had to make, and I was in the middle of going through a divorce as well, and I had a lot on my fucking shoulders at the time. So went home, drank on it, stuff. After a bottle of Sailor Jerry's, I made the decision I was just gonna get out. Stuff like I'm not risking putting everybody that I knew at the time who had taken the vaccine, like, got COVID right after and just felt like fucking dog shit, like, the whole time. So, and dudes that had taken the vaccine, like, that were PT studs, you know, were able to run. They were running 18.5-minute 3 miles or 17-minute 3 miles. Like, these dudes were running 100 yards and can't fucking catch their breath.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not taking that fucking vaccine. So I made the decision, ended up getting out. Had my little separation party and stuff in the company office. They gave me a bottle of whiskey and a fucking boat whore. And ended up separating, and that's whenever I fucking packed my shit up and made the final drive off base and haven't been back since.
How did that feel, driving off?
I cried.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. So I went through the fucking main gate of Lejeune, getting off, and I ended up pulling over and stuff, dude. I was crying so hard because, I mean, I didn't want to leave. You know, like, I wanted to make a career out of that shit.
Yeah.
And seeing the dudes that were my boots and stuff grow into the guys that they were. Like, I remember this guy named Lance Corporal Thin. He was probably the biggest and dumbest fucking idiot I have ever seen in my life. This kid was fucking retarded. But me getting ready to leave, like, I started really back paying attention to the dudes. And Thin was out there running a fucking gun line like he's been doing it for 10 years. You know, so seeing the development of guys when they first show up to the guys that they are when you're getting ready to get out is like, holy shit. You know, like, these dudes are fucking studs. The best dudes I ever met in my life. So leaving that culture and stuff was like a fucking reality check, is what I really think brought it on.
Did you have a job lined up when you left? Or?
No.
No,
I didn't know what the fuck I was. So I had what's called terminal leave, which is like all the leave days that you didn't use while you were in. You can use them on what's called terminal leave to basically take leave before your actual EAS date. So I had like 2 months of it saved up. So I was going to go home and spend a month of just doing my thing, trying to fucking get better. Or get back used to the fucking civilian shit. And then the next month I was going to spend that looking for a fucking job. And ended up doing that, fucking got back home, and immediately I knew that was not the fucking place for me at all. Of, you know, civilian life. Like, everybody's a fucking retard.
Yeah.
So chill out for a month, still trying to, you know, figure out something with my back, and thankfully we had a family doctor that I went to kind of under the table, like, hey, you know, this is what happened, I need something. So he got me on the same painkillers that I was, and that's whenever I realized I was developing kind of an addiction to painkillers, and so I got off of them, and I'm drinking probably more than I ever have. I was drinking a case of beer a day, if not a fifth of liquor a day, of just destroying my fucking liver, trying to deal with fucking pain and stuff in my back. And then came the fucking job hunt. So it is a fucking wild ride getting out, man.
Massive reality check from having everything sort of dealt for you.
Yeah.
To
that's a big thing that people don't realize. You know, like, whenever you have a job in the military, the only thing you really have to worry about is paying your fucking internet bill, your car note, and that's it.
Yep.
Maybe a house payment if you're married.
Yep.
But, you know, everything's fucking your water, your electricity, the roof over your head. Everything's fucking paid for you. You don't ever have to worry about that shit. So getting out, now you've got all these fucking bills coming in, and you have no idea, like, what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
It's time to step up and be an adult. So that was a big reality check, and it took me a while to figure out.
It's funny
what
that
to do.
you say that it's time to step up and be an adult after all that you've been through after the previous 4.5 years of, like, you know, signing up, deployed, getting blown up with the injuries, going through all that shit, and then you say it's time to grow up after, like, for some people might be like, what? You know what I mean? So that's interesting, but, like, how long was the transition until you sort of got a decent job and found a nice, you know, someone that, you know, was going to give you a decent job and a shot, you know?
So, like I said, I was back for a month, you know, and then the next month I started my job search. And I had a high school friend of mine who still lived around there, and I was like, hey, man, you know, I need a fucking job. I can't sit here on my ass all the time. So he was like, well, let me make a few phone calls, you know, I'll get you hooked up. So he calls me back about 2 hours later, and he's like, hey, you know, I've got, you know, you remember this guy, da-da-da-da. Well, his, you know, fucking father-in-law has an AC business, like air conditioning. He's looking for an installer for the AC equipment and stuff like that. Like, it ain't but $13 an hour. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. So I go be an AC equipment installer and stuff, so installing AC units in people's homes. And that was probably the worst fucking job I have ever had in my life. I wasn't getting paid shit, and it's physical work, and my back was fucking killing me constantly.
I've actually done that.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Like, I fucking hate, like, running copper, man, is fucking stupid.
We were doing evaporative.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, there's no copper. It's a lot, you know. It's just ducting and the unit, and cut a few holes in their roof and chuck them in, and the company we worked for were pretty. The company we worked for were pretty slack, so we only had to do like 1 or 2 machines a day. So it wasn't too bad, you know. It was hot and shit work. Working in people's ceilings sucks, man.
Yeah,
like,
I fell through a lady's roof or ceiling. Yeah. And that's whenever I actually tried to get help for my back.
That would have fucked you up. Yeah, that would have made it. That would have hurt. Yeah.
I fucking missed the rafter and fell through her fucking ceiling and centered my back on her fucking coffee table.
Ooh, right. Was she in the lounge room when that happened? Or?
Yeah, dude, she was watching a soap opera.
Down. That's crazy. Are you okay, darling?
A 200-pound fucking man fell through my ceiling. So,
and that's when that was when you were in real pain. Now you need to get help.
Yeah, I couldn't even get up.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't stand up on my own.
Yeah.
So, a buddy of mine helped me up, and I ended up going to the hospital and get, like, you know, legitimate help. And at this time, I'm starting now to actually get set up with the VA to have a consistent doctor and everything else. So, one thing that they don't teach you. Right before you get out, you go through what's called TRS, which is Transition Readiness Seminar. And ours fucking sucked. The guy didn't want to fucking be there. They teach you how to, like, write a resume and how to get set up through the VA and all this other stuff. Like, he didn't teach us any of that. He taught us, like, we wrote a resume, and then he would just spend 15 minutes shitting on that person's resume and then never tell them how to fix it.
No, so he didn't want to do the job at all. Okay.
Yeah, it was zero fucking help. So I get out not knowing how to do any of that shit, and so I'm finally getting set up with the VA. I'm doing all this shit on my own, kind of like not asking for help because I don't know how to ask or who to ask. So I'm trying to I said, fuck it, I'm gonna figure it out myself. So I'm calling the VA, and what they don't tell you is, like, to get accepted, you have to have, like, your initial appointment and stuff. So you gotta take a day off from work and then go all the way up wherever the VA facility is and have your initial appointment, and then you have to schedule. They look at your medical record and they're like, what are you having problems with? So you tell them, and then they have to schedule all these different appointments corresponding to that. And, it's a whole fucking ordeal in process. Like, it's fucking stupid. So I come back to the AC business, and, at this point I'm still on fucking painkillers and still drinking heavily. Showing up drunk to work, just like the fucking Marine Corps sometimes. And, he started kind of taking notice of it. And he was like, are you fucking drunk again? So he'd send me home a couple of times to, like, sober up. And I'm like, well, this is new. I never got sent home or sent back to my fucking room for being a little intoxicated at work. So that was a fucking new thing for me. And trying to figure out how to fucking navigate him as a boss. So we were working on this job. It was a contract for a lumber mill getting AC installed into their, like, offices or whatever in the fucking sawmill. So we're out there, and a couple of us are on our phones and shit like that when we're not doing anything. Well, we get fucking yelled at by the fucking safety man out there. And then it became a whole ordeal that we were on our fucking phone. So the boss man pulled us to the side that afternoon. And we had what's called team leads or install leads and stuff, which was a buddy of mine, Colton, and another buddy, Cullen. And he was like, the boss man, David, was, I don't want any of y'all on your fucking phones. Like, if you need to make a phone call or somebody needs to call you, you can tell them to call Cullen or Colton, and, so on and so forth. And I said, well, that dog ain't gonna fucking hunt, brother. Like, that ain't gonna fucking work. Like, if the VA calls me for an appointment, like, I have to be able to answer it. So I'm not fucking doing that. And he caught a fucking attitude with me and was like, I'm your fucking boss. I can tell you whatever the fuck I want to. And that's whenever the Marine Corps me, because, I mean, like I said, I'm 2 months out of the Marine Corps now. And the Marine Corps side of me came out a little bit, and I told him I was going to fucking kill him. Like, I'd cut his fucking face off. And, I would, like, drag him up on the porch so his fucking kids could see, and, like, dude, it was a fucking ordeal. And I grabbed this dude by the fucking face and was, like, trying to take his fucking teeth out with my hands. And so he ended up firing me.
Oh, no surprise there. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, so he ended up firing me, and I was like, fuck you, I don't need this fucking job anyway. So ended up going home, and now I'm fucking jobless again. I was only there for like 2 months, and so I'm trying to find a new fucking job. But in the meantime, I had met my now wife on Tinder, surprise. And I was just kind of looking for a piece of ass, if I'm being honest with you, because I couldn't do with the fucking women around where I lived at the time. So we ended up hanging out and fell in love with her off the freaking bat. And so I ended up moving an hour north from my hometown and found a place to live that was kind of closer to her, and got a job up there. And started back with diesel stuff, because I worked diesel, with my uncles and shit before the Marine Corps. So I was like, I know a good bit about diesel stuff, so I'll just fucking go to a dealership or something or other and try that. Well, first job in the diesel field whenever I moved up there was at a Peterbilt dealership for 18-wheelers. And get up there, I was there for 6 months probably. And I was teaching a kid how to do transmissions, and he didn't tighten the bolts all the way, and the transmission fell out of the truck going down the interstate. So they blamed it on me, and lost my mind on that one. Threatened to kill everybody there. Kind of lost my mind on it. Threw a chair through a piece of like glass in his office. Got fired from that. Then I was jobless again, fucking 6 to 8 months later. And by this point, too, a lot of my, I'm starting to get set up in the VA and, like, getting injections put in my back to kind of take the pressure and shit from the discs off of my spine and my nerves. So I'm going through, 2 or 3 injections every couple months and getting that handled, and then the T.B.I. stuff is starting to really take effect. I'm forgetting my birthday, my girlfriend at the time's birthday, her daughter's birthday, forgetting how to get to work.
When did it become apparent that was probably a reason for you? Don't get me wrong, although your outbursts were probably warranted, but like probably the way that throwing chairs and shit was probably half TBI as well. When did that become? You know what I mean? Like you're like, shit, I'm gonna hurt someone. Maybe.
So that didn't come until my now wife threatened not to marry me whenever we had a child before we got married, and this was after that second job and stuff. She got pregnant, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm in here now, and so I get another job, fucking hooking and jabbing at that one, trying to do the best that I can, whatever, still with diesel stuff. And we have the baby, we're getting ready to get married, and at this point, I'm full-fledged, like, I'm not on painkillers anymore, which is an awful fucking idea, because I'm still hurting all the fucking time. I'm getting my shots, and I'm not on any other fucking medicine to kind of regulate the TBI issues, right? Which I didn't even know that's what it was at the time. And I just thought I was like an angry fucking person, and I couldn't conform to fucking civilian life. And my wife kind of said that too. She was like, I think you just can't conform, like you miss the Marine Corps too much. And it got to the point where, with a kid, they wake up at weird ass times of the hour and they don't know how to do anything but fucking cry, right? Because they don't know how to talk or anything else. So I'm having to wake up, early as fuck in the morning to go in there and deal with the baby, because mom, has had a big day of breastfeeding and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going in there, and I don't remember any of this, but I'm getting so mad that the baby won't stop fucking crying that I'm like grabbing the fucking crib and shaking it and like punching holes through the walls. I fucking punched a hole through the fucking window and sliced my arm open on the glass and stuff, and like picking up the fucking chair and throwing it, like losing my fucking mind in this newborn baby's room, which is my kid, and my wife ended up coming in there and like grabbing a hold of me and like throwing me on the fucking ground, like manhandling my ass, and was like, you need to shut the fuck up and go away. So I got kicked out of the room, sent back to bed, and I don't remember any of it. She talked to me the next morning about it. This happened a couple times of me shaking the fucking crib and shit like that and getting so fucking mad and like basically yelling at a child. And the next morning she comes up to me and she was like, hey, I don't know what you need to do. I don't know how this whole VA process works. I don't know how, the government works with this kind of stuff, but you need some fucking help. And you need to get it now, because something's like got to be fixed. I'm still drinking super heavily, a case of beer a day, if not a fifth of whiskey a day. And I was like, okay. She said, either you call them or I'm gonna call them. So I was like, all right, I'll call tomorrow. So I ended up calling the VA, and I was like, hey, I need an appointment. I don't really know what for, but this is what's happening. And this is kind of the effect it's taking on my family. And they were like, okay, we'll get you a mental health appointment. How's tomorrow? And I was like, fine, I don't care. So I go to this mental health appointment, and I had a fucking outburst at the VA and got kicked out of the VA because the doctor that they gave me was 80-something years old and was an hour late to our appointment because he was asleep. So I freaked the fuck out about that, and I'm throwing shit in the fucking VA, calling this receptionist up there. She told me to calm down, and I told her to shut her fat ass up. And got kicked out of the fucking VA, so I had to reschedule an appointment with a new doctor. And it got to the point my wife, now wife at the time, wasn't. She said, look, if you don't get this shit fixed and stuff, like, I'm not going to marry you. Like, I can't marry someone who is, you know, this big of a fucking threat towards our family. So, get in with mental health, actually get a good fucking doctor. He was around my age. He was a fucking Marine combat vet as well. And start talking to him, and he was like, you know, man, this, you know, from the timeline that you're telling me and stuff, and like the stuff that's happening in your life that you're losing memory of, or you know, you've got vertigo and this and that and so on and so forth. Like you can't remember simple shit. Like it sounds like T.B.I, and I didn't know what the fuck it was. So he starts explaining, you know, traumatic brain injury and like the effects that it can take and stuff. So he sends me for a CT scan, or a MRI, excuse me, not a CT scan, an MRI, and they don't see anything on this MRI. So I go back to see the dude, and I was like, see, like, it's just me. Like, I can't fucking conform to this bullshit in the real world. And he was like, no, you know, like, MRIs only show big shit. Let's look at small shit and stuff, send you for a CT scan. So I go in for a fucking CT scan. And apparently the CT scan lit up like a fucking Christmas tree of my brain. I've got, you know, minute bruising and stuff on the frontal lobe and the side that controls fucking memory, or like motor functions and shit like that, and the back of it that controls outbursts or some whatever. I'm not a fucking brain surgeon. I don't know. And so I go back and see him, and he's, you know, like getting a neurologist in there to like explain what all of it is, and that's whenever they start getting me on fucking medicine to kind of control or like kind of fixate on the issues that I was having. And it got a little bit better. I quit fucking drinking. I only drink socially now, or every other, you know, op that we have in RCT. And I got a lot better of an attitude. Like, I quit fucking shaking the cribs and shit. I still don't remember where the fuck I'm going half the time. Or I'll be, you know, I'll forget what I'm doing. But quit drinking, had a better attitude towards a lot of things. And it's been fucking kind of plateaued from there.
Like, is it
possible?
You know, maybe
I definitely wouldn't say it's under control. It's stuff just due to the type of outbursts that I have. Because I mean, you know, I've been through 3 jobs now.
Yep.
From getting fired for anger. My last job that I was at, I ripped my manager's computer out of the wall and threw that bitch in the fucking lobby. But it's types of outbursts like that. But I quit focusing it towards the kids. Like, if I ever got aggravated with the kids, you know, I would go outside,
move our way, get away, sort of thing.
Yeah, we had an old fucking car. It was a 2002 Chevy Suburban.
Yeah.
And I would go outside and punch the dog shit out of the fucking back quarter panel. That son of a bitch was caved in by the time we sold it.
I think part of what I was saying is, like, you've got it under control is you're aware of it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think awareness is, like, being aware of your own... I think majority of people have got some sort of fucking mental illness, if you want to look at it heaps closely, you know. And, or you
especially
could even...
the Democrats.
Yeah. You could even just call it faults. I mean, people that are aware of their own faults are usually the people that are like... You know, people that I probably want to talk to, because they're not going to talk shit to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Majority of the time,
I think that's what made the whole therapy thing a little bit easier, is the guy, like, I was more willing to open up to that dude because he was a Marine too.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a combat vet.
Yeah, he understands.
So
yeah.
Easily to open up to him to actually say, hey, you know, I'm fucked up, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest, like, obstacle, I guess you could say, was actually realizing that, like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Like, I fucking need help. Because I spent so long hiding that shit from my chain of command.
And yourself,
you know,
as well.
And myself, too, kind of ignoring it. You know, that I didn't really know what to I didn't even know how to go about it.
Yeah. I think a lot of men do the same thing, man. Like, they either suck it up and just get on with it.
Yep.
Or they, and it happens in then they have outbursts, like you're saying too. Like, even men that you could say don't have TBIs or mental illnesses or whatever you want to call it. People have outbursts because if you're bottling that shit up, because I've seen it in heaps of guys that I know like that have done the same thing. They've spent their whole life a certain way, and then to come to realize as they get older, like, shit, I've been hiding this problem that I have, and now it's making me do these things and making me fuck up potentially.
Yeah.
And they've never addressed it, and then they address it when they get older, and it's like, fuck, And that's just the ones that I know that it's more of a mental illness thing than an actual injury. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And
I was like some of the therapies that they put me through. So they did a thing called they did electromagnetic therapy and what's called prolonged exposure therapy. It's kind of brought back a lot of the tidbits of that deployment that I
forgot,
either overlooked or couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Which ended up leading to more fucking therapy. Part of it during that fucking firefight that we had, at the end after the explosion went off and stuff. What I didn't know was a lot of the Taliban members that were, trying to close with and stuff like that on us. There was kids involved with that. They would strap bombs to the kids or get them to carry RPGs and stuff with self detonators and stuff strapped to them, or ride their bikes towards us. And
you're actively engaging those.
Yeah, actively engaging.
And you forgot about all that after the incident, sort of thing.
Yeah. So a lot of the therapy now is trying to get over a lot of that stuff.
So you don't remember the act of it, you're just remembering snippets of it then, so...
Yeah, snippets of it, and then, I'll remember... I wouldn't even necessarily say snippets. I'll remember the hollow feeling.
Of what you're actually having to do.
Of a lot of it.
Do you remember
because at the time you're not really thinking about what you're having to do. At least in my shoes, this is a fucking threat. We need to get the fuck out of here. That was my main concern.
And that was the first time you shot in anger, as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first time that you took a life that day, or is that something you can't remember either?
So that was before the explosion and stuff during the actual QRF, because we were suppressing with machine guns on that, and we had dudes popping out of the Vic trying to assist MARSOC with their raid and everything else. And the first shot that I actually took was going into the compound to drag the guy who had got hit with the PKM. Drag him back. Dude came around the fucking corner with an AK and buttoned his ass up. He was probably fucking 20, 25 feet from us at that point.
What were you on?
I was on M4. Oh, no, I was ground team going to get the guy, the casualty, to drag him back.
Okay, yeah.
But that's whenever I went back to the Vic and stuff and was directing the machine guns with talking guns and kind of suppressing.
Did you have a chance to... I know these are cliche questions, but did you have a chance to take that in when you took that dude's life, when you dropped that guy? Did you have a chance to go, you fucking took that guy? Because I realised that you're doing it because you're looking after your boys and that, you're doing your fucking job, but did you have a chance to really get it sunk in?
No, that didn't really hit until we started the drive out. And thereafter, because at that time, it was like the fucking world erupted. Whenever they blew that door and the PKM opened up, it was almost like the fucking world just exploded.
Okay.
So it really wasn't hey, oh my god, I just, fucking zipped this dude up. It was, we need to get this dude off the fucking X or he's gonna fucking die. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm bouncing around here a lot. Like a lot of this shit's just now coming back to me. So if you want to fucking...
No, wait, I'll leave it exactly like this. If people want to listen and hear the good shit, have to listen all the way through. That's how podcasts work.
Yeah. That's like... It didn't hit me until the ride out, right before the fucking explosion, because, the IED was set a mile offset of the target.
So you were basically semi-celebrating, like, sweet, we're on our way out.
Yeah, like, thank God done. We're fucking leaving this shit.
Yeah, and then you come into terms of what you guys did while you were there,
Yeah, and a counterattack, but, yeah, it didn't really hit until after.
I mean, what?
It wasn't even like a, like, oh my God, it was more of a, damn, fuck that guy. That got, and also you would be thinking, well, that got serious real quick, sort of thing as well, like, escalated fast. Yeah, because, before shit goes down like that, people don't ever fucking think about, this is 3 in the morning in the middle of fucking Afghanistan. Yeah. Like, there's not crickets really and stuff. It's like the whole fucking world is quiet.
Yeah.
And then, like, you hear a fucking explosion, and then right after it's machine gun fire, and then there's machine gun fire everywhere.
Yeah.
So, that's a big fucking snippet of memory off that.
So, like, when they blew the door and that PKM lit that dude up, and they pulled that guy away, how soon after did their reaction forces start coming in?
So, right after that dude dropped, their team leader sent it over the radio that they had a dude down. So that's immediately whenever pieces of QRF started going down there. We left the machine guns up on this berm, being able to watch for squirters and shit like that. Dudes running out away from the house. So me, like I think it was a fire team, so me and 3 other dudes ran down there to kind of assist and get him off the X so they could continue and kind of add to their security, because it was a lot bigger than what we thought it was going to be. And that's wherever I went. It's kind of walled off little compound thing and stuff with like this janky ass fucking steel gate. So whenever we went through that, that's when the dude came around that fucking corner on the right side of the house, and we zipped him up because I had button hooked around that fucking corner to set security on the side that was closest to the fucking right side of the fucking building. So there was like pallets, and not really pallets, but like sheet metal and like a clothesline thing off to the side and stuff. So that's where I fucking sat, and they grabbed that dude and pulled him on the outside of the gate, kind of away from the fucking PKM in the front door. And that's when the fucking Raider team started going around, and they got the idea to blow the hole in the side of the door, or the side of the building. So we moved, after we got that dude off the X, we moved around and set security on that fucking hole to let them flow through and just add to their security. Let them do their thing. We, just keep dudes off of them.
And so when you shot that guy, did you have to call that in straight away? Is it like everyone's sort of seen it? And you don't really say much? It's kind of... And there's that much going on, there's no point.
Yeah, there's too much going on. You don't want to clog up the net.
Yeah.
With, I just fucking shot a dude.
Yeah,
everybody's going to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's not information everyone needs to know, really.
Yeah,
they've heard the shots, they fucking know something's just gone down over there.
Yeah, it's like, dropped him, everybody's just kind of like, okay, cool, like we're, moving, that sector's covered, keep going.
Did you get a chance to look at him after you zipped him up, or is it just, you just had, was that quick and in and out sort of thing?
Yeah, no, it was, I went up to dead check and stuff because I moved up to the side of the house to kind of peek around to make sure there was no dudes coming between the house and the wall.
Yeah.
More like where he came from originally.
Yeah.
So whenever I came up, I dead checked and put my suppressor into his eye socket to see if it, because my suppressor's hot at the time.
See if he's going to react to it.
Yeah, see if he reacted to it and stuff, and he had fucking blood just rolling out of his fucking mouth, and it looked like we were shooting M855A1, which is an armor-piercing round.
Yeah.
So I had shot him like fucking 6 times before he actually dropped.
What did that feel like to go up to him like that and interact with that guy after you just killed him?
Kind of hollow.
Surreal, even.
Like, really you most of the engagements that you fucking see of Marines in Afghanistan, man, you know, like, a lot of it's like dudes in man dresses taking pop shots from like 200 meters away and then running away.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the first time I'm seeing something up close. Like, this is what this is what they look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, I was only there for fucking 2 to 3 weeks, so I haven't gotten exposed to the fucking Afghan culture. Like, I've heard a lot about it from dudes who have been there.
Yeah.
But those dudes fucking smell awful. And I didn't really feel anything.
Yeah.
That might sound like shitty to fucking say.
He's just a target, though. It's your job. He's just a target.
Yeah, that might be like super fucking shitty to say, but the Marine Corps, the way they fucking teach you is so desensitized, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we used to make jokes out of, you know, the whole old saying of fucking kiss hands, or, hang on a minute, shake hands and kiss babies.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is our job here is to kiss hands, shake. Wait.
Yeah.
We'd say kiss hands and shake babies.
Shake babies and kiss hands, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's so fucking desensitized to everything that I didn't really have a reaction. It was just more of like, that dude's fucked up.
So that being the first time you killed a guy, and the Marines training gets you to that point basically when you're basically ready to deal with it.
Yeah.
In the moment, we'll say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're ready to deal with that.
The after effects don't come till way after.
Yeah, because they've prepared you for what you're gonna see, hear, and do when you shoot someone. Essentially, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I've seen enough fucking dead bodies on videos because, you know, Instagram's a fucking...
Pre to that, yeah, and Live Leak was real back then too, so...
Yeah, Live Leak was shit,
yeah.
dude.
We used to watch heap... Dude, I was watching you... We used to watch you boys on Live Leak, me and my friends here in Australia. Used to watch you guys doing all the ops, man. As much shit we could absorb back then, we were watching so much you guys fuck shit up in Iraq, Afghanistan, like... It's the only way that you could see the real
Marine Corps
raw...
gangster as fuck, dude.
Oh, dude, it's the only way you could see raw footage of, because the press just used snippets of crap, you know what I mean? Like, soldiers running across the street, that's all you'll see on the news. Like, that's literally all you hear, like, it's just crap, so so that was, so that was a big thing.
That was the first, and then, you know, like I said, that gunfight afterward, like, I remember bits and pieces. A lot of it, I was still, you know, super fucking blurry, and the guy took my mag out of my gun.
So it seems that closer to the explosion is when your memory starts losing more. Like
yeah.
So
I remember most of everything before, but closer to and stuff is whenever it's really a little blurry.
Well, how long were you post up on with the gunfight? Once you made it back, once you leave that first guy and you go back to the machine guns, like you said, and you started directing fire, how long were you guys there dealing with what you were saying basically with civilians coming at you?
10, 15 minutes.
And that was just enough time to get everyone out of there.
Yeah, it was enough time for, you know, raiders to take the house and bag that dude up and fucking take him, and them to get back to the Vicks is when we started loading up. But that 15 minutes felt like hours.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So then we rolled out, and it was a kind of a rolling gunfight for another 5 to 10 minutes. One of the gunners on the 50 smoked a dude on a fucking bike, like a fucking...
On a push bike?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't even a fucking push bike, man. It was like an actual bicycle and stuff that was sitting, and he had pulled off the road into this wadi and had his fucking AK that he slung up and popped like 2 or 3 rounds at the fucking truck. And one of the gunners of the 50 swung that bitch around and put a burst into his face. And seeing that dude's fucking head explode on the side of the fucking road and the bike just fall over was like, holy shit. That's fucked up.
Wow.
But then it goes into fucking, like it was like a lull in a fight. You know, everything's fucking quiet again. We're listening to fucking Katy Perry, and then bada boom, bada bing, fucking explosion happens.
Yeah. When you got back and you're all like, and you get out of fucking the medics and all that, were you really thirsty to get deployed again?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, you know, I fucking snuck away from Wounded Warrior and stuff to try to make the next deployment.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't handle. I figured it was either gonna be my last deployment with that unit because I was already planning on re-enlisting.
Yeah.
So I knew it was like, hey, this is probably gonna be my last. If I re-enlist, I am probably going to a different unit instead to like freshen things up, like go West Coast maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll move you around
and stuff. So I wanted to make the next deployment with my boys.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where that stemmed from.
So when did, like, obviously you're probably playing video games the whole time throughout your life probably, but when did video games really, when did Reforger really and games in general really become what they are for you now with RCT5 and what are you getting out of it now, as in like, are you healing with it as well? Does it help you heal? Does it help you get over everything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so my so I was playing Call of Duty and shit, you know, like while deployed and like while I was still in the Marine Corps. Playing mainly Call of Duty and games like Battlefield and shit like that. But it wasn't until Reforger came out, because I never had a PC or anything. I was always playing on PlayStation. I couldn't afford a fucking PC. So playing Call of Duty, like, I knew that shit wasn't really realistic. But the military has a contract with Bohemia Interactive. They have a military, like a U.S. government version of Arma 3. And so we got to play that on like some of the training days when I was in the Marine Corps.
You're talking about VBS?
Yeah, that might be what it is. It's basically Arma 3 though.
Yeah, it's VBS. It's called Virtual Battle Space, and it's a subsidiary to Bohemia Interactive. It's basically their military grade version of their game. Just quickly before we get too carried away. They pretty much, Bohemia Interactive pretty much have their military grade game. The game we're playing is the one that funds that.
Oh, really?
Just like every other military contract, man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They have
I didn't know the ins and
part.
outs of it.
They work independently. They don't say they are together. They are involved together. They have been for a long time. The Australians military's got a contract with it as well. We had VBS2 8 years ago. Jeffries used to use it when he was in. I think they're on VBS 4 now.
Yeah.
And it's basically Arma on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
I remember playing that a little bit while I was in, and I was like, dude, this shit's fucking awesome. And I didn't get exposed to Arma until Reforger actually came to console. So, you know, that whenever I met Bloody originally on Reforger and stuff. I joined in random ass lobbies and stuff, came on 1st Marine Raider Battalion. Because I wanted something that kind of correlated to the Marine Corps, because I thought all the other branches were lame and fucking gay. So, typical fucking Marine, I know. You know, started on the Raider Battalion stuff and met a bunch of cool dudes on there, dudes who were actually trying to fucking do stuff how the Marine Corps does it. And I saw some, like, you know, weird tidbits and stuff of how they were running machine guns, and I was like, dude, this is all fucking wrong. You know, you can be way more efficient if you do it like this. And kind of explain machine gun shit to them. And they were like, hey, man, you know, why don't you join our fucking milsim of... I was like, I don't know what the fuck a milsim is. And they explained it, you know, hey, it's an online military unit. You know, just military simulation stuff. And I was like, brother, they already got me with that shit one time. Like, as much as I love it, I'm not doing it on a fucking game. Like, that's kind of fucking stupid. So, over the next couple weeks, I kind of got talked into it, and I was like, fuck it. You know, I'll join it, see what this is all about. Like, if I don't like it, I can just fucking leave. And got on there and met a bunch of cool dudes, met Bushy, and then met Titan and stuff like that, because they were standing up LAR at the time, which is Light Armored Reconnaissance with the LAVs. And me coming from a CAAT platoon, Bushy was an LAR guy in real life. So me coming from a CAAT platoon, a lot of the fucking vehicle tactics kind of intermingle together. Like a lot of it's the same. And so me and him started feeding off of one another basically, and we're running, LAR section to a fucking T of how the Marine Corps actually does it, and fucking dudes up the whole time. So that kind of opened up my little fucking brain into milsim stuff.
What do you get out of it? As in, like, now that you've been exposed to milsim, you're helping run RCT5. You guys fucking really are like, and I'm not just saying this because fucking, and I know you hear me say it lots, and you're probably sick of hearing me say it, but you guys run probably I don't want to say the best, but it's the best I've seen in a long time. Just the organics that you have with the milsim and the camaraderie as well. Whereas, and I said it in the first video I did with you guys, like I said, these guys know how to like not take themselves too seriously, but they also know how to get the job done. And I mean that as in, like, you know how to do it in such a way where you feel like you're running in a real military unit with these guys when the time is to fucking guns down range and play the game and get a mission done. But at the same time, the camaraderie and the amount of fun that you guys have before the mission and after the mission, and sometimes also in between when there's a lull and that like that, that's why people keep coming back to it. I think that's what that's what makes people come back to all milsims. Because a lot of milsims are all very much similar, but like it comes down to the core group of people that are also, and the core group you guys have got are really like, that's what I'm really getting at. It's like that I keep coming back because of you guys and the way that you guys banter and talk. Like literally for me, it's like sitting in and being involved in an episode of Generation Kill. Like it literally is, like with the banter you guys have in the background when someone, like I'll be sitting there listening to you drop a fucking a Frago or something like that, and you got Randy and someone else in the back giving each other a hard time over their fucking kit or whatever, and just saying the most outlandish stuff to each other that I can't stop but laugh all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
so a lot of that I'll fucking contribute to the command element when we moved away from Marine Raider Battalion. A lot of those dudes over there, like, they were like, oh, this is realism. Like, we pride ourselves on realism and so on and so forth. And it was nothing like the fucking Marine Corps. Like, there was nothing realistic about that shit. And so that's where me, Bushy, Taylor, and Titan and all of them were like, what if we're the only ones taking this shit serious and, how it's actually supposed to be ran according to realism. Let's branch off and do our own thing, And, all of us were all for it. We were tired of that shit anyway. So it's when we stood up RCT and we, kind of made a pact then, like, hey, all of us are fucking combat vets or have been in the Marine Corps at a minimum. Like, let's, hone in on that fucking realism part. And if dudes like this shit, they'll come back. If they don't like it, fuck them. You can't sit there and fucking dredge yourself on, like, trying to appease other people. Milsims kind of gravitate. They have a magnet for certain individuals, and we pride ourselves on the realism and how the Marine Corps is actually ran. Because there's a reason the Marine Corps has been around for 250 years. You know what I mean? They have a system for everything, and that's kind of where we want to lean towards. And dudes, they see the Marine Corps as this lethal fighting force, but they don't know that the behind the scenes shit. So being able to transfer that knowledge onto people who have never, maybe have wanted to join or, never got the chance to, whatever their fucking bitch ass story is and stuff, being able to transfer that fucking knowledge onto people who will actually learn and be able to be teachable and stuff. I think that's what keeps bringing people back is the knowledge transfer and the realism part of it. Because in Afghanistan, dude, we'd be in a gunfight for 20 minutes, and then 5 minutes after that, we'd be joking, hey, you see how that dude fucking folded when he got shot in the fucking face? Like, you know, like saying stupid ass fucking jokes. And
it's a way ways of you guys were dealing with it too, really, weren't you?
yeah,
Well.
and ways of coping, you know, having that fucked up sense of humor.
Yeah.
So being able to attract those people that just have natural fucked up senses of humor.
People that can relate to your humor as well, essentially,
yeah. And dudes willing to learn, man. You know, like that's our big thing is whenever dudes get out. Whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, you know, like I said, I kind of felt out of place. Like nothing was the fucking same. You know, I'm so used to this culture and this way of life. Nothing outside of it correlates to it, and then we're able to get in here and transfer all that fucking knowledge that we've learned and the experiences that we have onto dudes who are eager to fucking learn and show up every other day or every day to fucking hear that knowledge transfer and be able to employ it properly. It's fucking awesome. It's definitely helped me.
I'll put Aries as a example doing JTAC.
Yeah.
Like I've watched you guys grow, because that's all I've done.
Yep.
Is watch you guys run around and watch, and to watch Aries come from the quiet guy that he was to now being a fucking JTAC and doing good at, like, doing really well at it, like sounding like a real fucking JTAC, like and doing it properly too, not just you know, half-assed JTAC shit like you see most people do, you know.
That dude, I worked with him. He told me, you know, like, hey, Fed, you know, I want to be a fucking JTAC. Like, I want to learn how to do this. Because he was a tanker in the Army, you know, so he never got exposed to being able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I went to JTAC school in the Marine Corps and JFO school and shit. So I was like, dude, I'll fucking work with you. Like, that's what you want to do. But if you're going to do it, you're going to do it fucking right. So I worked in there in the training server with him for about 2 hours. Of just calling fixed wing and rotary wing in, explaining, you know, the different lines off of 5-line and a 9-line rotary wing. And, dude, it got towards the end of it, I'm sitting there like, holy fuck, this motherfucker's calling in birds better than I can. So then it started making me step my game up and reading back into, you know, like over my old JTAC notes. And I'm like, all right, now it's a fucking competition.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And stuff, and that's what I like of it, because that's the way the Marine Corps is, man. Everything's a fucking competition.
Everything's competition, yeah. I think most militaries it's the same. Every unit within each military, they're all competing against each other to be the better one. So.
And I think that's what gravitates a lot of the veterans as well, is being able to come in and, you know, be around the same group of dudes that we've been missing all these years. And being able to be our old selves again, but then having that competition like we used to have and stuff, that's what fucking motivates a lot of us.
Yeah. And teach it and motivate it and fucking and then utilize it and see people that have never done anything like it, like myself. Like I've been doing it for a long time, but like I've never been in the army or anything like that. But everything I've learned is from people like you and Jeffries and anyone else that I've done military, like done milsim with, you know what I mean? Like, and I've learnt so much through you guys as well that I'll thank you for that now. Thank you for like all the shit that I've learnt for you guys. It's crazy the amount of knowledge that I've learnt just from hanging around with you guys and just soaking it in. You know what I mean? Like the amount of machine gun knowledge just from, I don't know how many times I've done your machine gun course. I think I've done it 3 times. Once with once with the other clan, and now twice with you here. Like, and I've signed up to do it again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I just like doing it. It's just
I fucking yelled at you a couple times during ops too.
But that's fun. That's funny. I didn't say it at the time, because I was like, I was like, oh, okay, I did kind of not do it right, but I was actually trying to get in timed with one of the guns. But I realized that I wasn't talking. I should have just started communicating. Like I wasn't saying it. I should have actually grabbed the gun and said, "Fed, count me in on this shit." You know, I want, you know, and then you would have fucking, you know, told me what to do. But there. And for people that don't understand what I'm saying, during up the other day, I picked up someone had died, and I picked up their machine gun and just started laying down hate, trying to get in time with the other machine guns that were going, and I fucked up everyone's timing and Fed yelled at me, which is granted. So.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
But no, like, that's the thing
you
too.
asked
like,
me earlier, You asked me earlier how Arma has helped me.
Yeah.
I guess you can say. I think that's what you said. I can't fucking remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I said.
I tell you right now, the best person to be able to tell you that and stuff will be my wife. So my wife has brought this up on numerous times. So I had nightmares real bad, just about every fucking night, where I wouldn't fucking sleep, or I would thrash around in my sleep. You know, I was grabbing a hold of her by the fucking throat some nights, and so on and so forth. And she said, since we've started this, I don't do that nearly as much. Like, I'm actually I don't fucking move when I sleep now.
So you're sleeping a lot better, and
I'm sleeping better.
The
I'm
night
getting
terrors
a lot of my aggressive out. Yep.
Yeah. No, well, that's fucking awesome, man. I'm glad that you found milsim, or milsim found you, rather. It seems that way. I'm glad that you've found all the other guys from RCT5, because what you guys have created is fucking, and again, I'm pumping you guys up again, but what you guys have created with your brotherhood's fucking sick. I love hanging around with you guys. It's so much fun. So, like, and I hope you guys don't stop doing it, and fucking you just keep cruising, and the game keeps updating, and they keep fucking bringing out more to make the game more fucking stable, so you guys can keep doing more big ops, and you guys just keep fucking going, because it's fucking sick. Milsim's awesome, and I get heaps out of it too, and fucking that's why I keep playing, and I have done for fucking 20 years. So, is your wife there? Does she want to say something?
Yeah, I can get her. Hang on one second.
She wants to say something? Does she want to say something?
Yeah, I can get her. Hang on one second.
She wants to say something?
Yeah, 1 second. All right, James, this is my wife, Savannah.
You there, Savannah?
Hi.
How you going?
Good.
So Fed just informed me that he seems to be sleeping better now that he's playing with all the other guys, all the other veterans. And
yeah,
I want your, I mean, you don't have to say too much, because I don't want to keep you. But, like, tell me what you've seen in a difference in him from playing milsim, essentially.
Well, when we first met, he was, riddled with nightmares constantly. I remember one night he came over to my house to watch a god-awful rated movie. And he ended up falling asleep on the couch, and that was the first time I got to witness his nightmares, like, firsthand. And he was thrashing around on the couch, and I was scared to wake him up because I had never dealt with a PTSD nightmare before. I wasn't even sure that's what was happening. Fast forward a few years, I am fairly used to his nightmares, waking him up. I know how to handle it. He has manhandled me a couple of times, but he has never actually hit me in a nightmare fit. Because I think his subconscious knows that I would swing back. But
and rightly
ever
so.
since he's there's been a few times. There was one, God love him, where he was having this specific nightmare that he relatively has frequently, and he reached around to, like, grab me. Grab the person. I just happened to be said person laying next to him. And when he woke up, he was distraught. He was upset. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to choke you out. And I'm like, where do you think you grabbed me? And he was like, I grabbed your throat. Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, baby, you grabbed my bladder. Like, I'm just glad I didn't have to pee. Like, it's not a big deal. It's okay. But ever since he started playing this game, granted, I'm a little upset because, y'all get my husband more than I do, but I've noticed that he's sleeping better. He is less angry all the time. He isn't, blowing up for no reason, not having nightmares, not thrashing around as much. I mean, granted, he still has them, but they are not as frequent. And I've noticed that he's just sleeping better. He wakes up still grumpy, but more refreshed. Like, he actually got a good night's sleep. And in my personal opinion, I think it's because he finally feels like he has a structure that doesn't really change. Like, he's in charge of, corresponding with other people to plan something, that there's a time, a place, a mission, and that's what his body is so used to. And I think his body just feels at home being able to play this.
It brings him like solace in a way that that he's got that to deal with, instead of dealing with whatever else is going to pique his anxiety and make him triggered, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, and plus civilians, we suck.
we do. You're right. We do. We're lazy, fat, and annoying. So yeah. I get it.
Yeah, especially in their eyes, without a doubt.
Yeah,
but he knows not to say those things to me.
Of course not. Oh, well,
He's a smart man.
Well, debatable, but yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, well, thanks for coming on. You didn't really have to, but thanks very much for coming on and letting people know, because that's a good insight, because not many people talk about this sort of thing, about not just milsim, but games, and like you said, just having something, an outlet to have, just having that outlet, for him to have is giving him more peace, which is good for.
And I'm just glad he found something that works for him, but also makes him feel good. And he may be a little upset with me for, being all mushy-gushy about him, but I love how excited he gets to be able to tell me, like, hey, this is what we're doing today, or hey, this is what we have planned, and I'm teaching the guys this, I'm teaching the guys that, the guys are really picking up on this. Like, he's very excited to tell me these things, and that's the side of him that I get to see, that y'all get to see the goofy hard ass that my husband is, but I get to see the soft little goofy side of him that it's been a while since it's been brought out in full force like this. So I'm glad he has the game to be able to have something that's not so mundane as everyday life to be excited about, because it's kind of hard to get excited when you have to deal with traffic every day and deal with morons, especially where we live, that don't know how to go about their everyday life without doing something dumb as hell.
And annoying and just stupid, I get that,
Just a nuisance, and So I'm glad that he found this and has something to be excited about.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad he has too, because he's building something pretty cool with his friends here, and it's good to see it thrive. So again, thanks for coming on, because like he didn't have to, but it's really good to get an insight, and I'm sure a lot of girlfriends that are maybe watching this with their partners that play games can relate to what you just said. You know what I mean? Because I know what you girls are like, so you don't get to. So. I'm sure there's a lot of girls that are going to watch this and relate.
Yeah, it's not to say that I don't get mad with how much time he spends on here, but that's simply because, like, that's my husband. I do want to spend time with him. I want him to have an outlet and be happy and do something he loves to do, but also, like, I'm just a girl. Pay attention to me. Like,
I get that totally.
So, I mean, it's one of those things of actively trying to find a balance as well, and military men are not the greatest at finding that balance, but he's doing a damn good job of it so far. So, especially with us also having 2 little girls. So that alone
makes it more busier.
Yes, and by the time we're done, hustling and bustling with them and get them to bed, we're both like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Go our separate ways. Find our own outlet. Calm down. But by the time he's done with his game, I'm so ready to spend time with him that I kind of irritate him until we fall asleep at like midnight, because I want to spend time with him, but he gets off late with y'all, and a lot of the time
you
after
want your
that
cuddles.
is me just...
It's your cuddle time. We're breaking into your cuddle time. I get it.
Exactly. So I try not to get too upset, but cuddle time is cuddle time.
Oh well, you're an outstanding woman. I'm glad Fed's got you.
Well, thank you.
All right, now give him his headset back and get out of here.
All right, you can have your boyfriend back.
I am back.
She's a good woman, man. You got a good one there.
She's something.
No,
I couldn't do a lot of this shit without her.
Nah, I totally feel you, man. I relate to what she said there. I can relate a lot, because I'm the exact same with my girlfriend. I'm constantly telling her what you guys are doing, what I'm doing, on YouTube and all that sort of shit. So yeah, it's very much the same thing, man. Well, dude, that's been like 3 hours or something, nearly 3.5 or something like that, maybe more.
Damn.
I can't figure it out, but unless you got anything else you want to bring to the table, dude, we can fucking wrap it.
Nah, man. The only thing I gotta say is that if any of y'all are out there and stuff, give RCT a fucking try.
Yeah, man.
So we're always fucking welcome for dudes to come in. You know, we got a good group of dudes that are more than willing to fucking help you, no matter, you know, what's going on. They might bitch about it a little bit, but they're solid dudes. Leadership's good. Dudes are more than willing to take their fucking time out of their day to help you out with whatever you need, even if you've never, this is the first time you booted up the game, you know what I mean? But, and if you're a 31 out there, keep that fucking gun up, dude.
There you go. Straight from a fucking 31. I'm going to set up your outro now, so just sit tight.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get that out of the way. Why don't you get on that fucking 50 there and let it rip?
Yeah. Gun 2 reloading.
Fuck yeah. Sweet as, bro. Cheers for coming on.
Cheers, boys.
It's been a good one, bro. If you're going to nominate someone to come on next, who are you going to call out for me? I mean, Bushy's on the list, but is there someone else that you can call out?
Probably Taylor, man. Taylor's he's a little bit outside of the infantry shit. So he was an aircraft mechanic, I believe, on the fucking Harriers.
So it could be interesting.
Yeah. Seeing his time in the Corps and stuff like that, and seeing the different side of the culture from infantry to actual like pogues and shit like that. Forgive me, Taylor. Fuck you. But all right, seeing the different culture from infantry guys to them.
I'll hit up Bushy, and then I'll hit up Taylor afterwards. I'll call him out. He knows it's coming now because he'll see it in this episode if he watches or listens.
Hell yeah.
Alright guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Fucking subscribe, like, follow us on Spotify, all that stuff. You've seen it with Fed. Thanks for coming on, dude. That was good.
Oh yeah, brother. Thanks for having me.
Too easy, bro. We'll cut it there. Yay. That was good, man.
Yay!